right. YouTube in here. Got Instagram. Let's go check over on Twitcheroo. Hello guys. As we get in, if you don't mind, tap the screen, share the live, send your daily heart me if you have not done so. This is Late Nights with Santana. Guys, this is a conversation. This week, we have been having an open mic, and the open mic is to get it off your chest, right? We've been talking about different things throughout the week that's facing the people within our community, and this is about different things throughout the week that's facing the people within our community. And we want to make sure that we are giving this.
All right, we have JT, Donovan, JJ McCarthy, Jonathan Taylor, and RJ. We do that. You know, if I rip Prism at night and there's no case hits, typically he hits the case hit in the morning. And vice versa. Genty, Dylan Gabriel. Danny Amendola on the Rams. Danny Amendola. Autograph there. All right, Mrs. We're at a Shop to Stand giveaway.
Okay.
500 shares. We'll do another one at 400,000 likes.
With it. But here's what happens is when you type it in, it comes up with the NRA. Now, chat, do we believe the NRA? Because it wouldn't go against their fucking capitalistic opportunities to sell less firearms as a whole, right? No way. Holy shit. All right, let's see. I actually didn't look at the chat at all during that conversation because I was having too much fun. Dude, is there anybody in the chat? We need less gun laws. Trying to see here real quick. Never take advice from a guy that paints his fingernails. Hey, local engineer, I don't though. Hold on. Local engineer, come on up, bud. Christian adjacent ninjas on mats. That's fucking funny. Okay. Let's see here. Putting legislation through with more. Awesome. I think I've seen him on other lives. The name was familiar. Yeah, I don't know. The dude was just big mad.
So hopefully, we don't have this issue again at all this evening. Hopefully we got that out of the way completely. Hopefully we got it out of the way already. All right. Anyway, like I said, this is going to be, we've had the conversation this week where we've been actually going through and really just making sure that we as a community have had the ability to have conversations that are necessary for our community. And this evening, I have to let you know that I don't know what just happened. Anyway, this evening is going to be a real black ass conversation. I'm wondering if it's worth just stopping and completely uninstalling Studio right now and then reinstalling it. Is Kay here? Management, what do you guys think? Should we just go ahead and completely uninstall it, reinstall it, and then bring it back up? Because I think it's Studio. It would probably take maybe 5 to 10 minutes. I'm not sure what's happening. For some reason, Studio keeps like freezing and kicking me out and bringing me back in. It's weird. It happens super random. Yeah. Yeah. All right, guys. All right. We're going to uninstall it and reinstall it. And we'll be back in just a few minutes. I'm sorry. But come back. It'll be worth it. Come back. Never mind? Are you saying never mind? No, that won't fix it? What do you mean, Joey? No, I don't know what Tickfinity is. I'm not going to touch anything. All right, yeah. It may take longer. All right, let's just rock with it. Let's rock with it, guys. We're going to go ahead and get it going. Like I said, this is going to be a real black-ass conversation this evening. This is going to be a super black-ass conversation. And listen, I love everyone. I do. I love each and every one of you. But when I say this conversation is going to be black AF, it's going to be black AF. So, for all of my friends that are not black, please be mindful of the space. Please be mindful of the conversation. Sit back, listen, learn. Don't feel like you have to chime in on certain black topics. But this is going to be an interesting one. But you know how we do. You know where we start every single time. Let's go.
Yeah, this ain't your regular panel. Nah, we speak the truth. Late nights with Santana and Mama Jones watching. Better keep it clean. Let's go. Late nights, truth in the convo. Everybody get a seat at the table. From the block to the books, we mindful. No screaming, just dreams and the Bible. One mic, one voice, we build bridges from the heart of the hood to the world's big issues. Politics, pay, different cultures. But the real ones listen before they rebuttal. Late nights with Santana. Yeah, Mama Jones watching, so keep it grown. Ain't about flexing, it's a purpose zone. Santana hold it steady when it might get hot. But we ain't here to fight, we here to connect the dots. Yeah, late nights with Santana. You already knew. Late nights with Santana. Late nights, no static. No highlight reel, just the soul's reflection. No shade throwing, just connection. From streetwise truths to deep reflections, we turn hard talks into blessings. They say they run a game, we build new rules. We here to heal, uplift, and break the old rules. They kept us boxed in, divided by fear. But you find us lined up when the truth appears. Yeah, weekly topics, hearts wide open. No judgment, just motion. Real ones are talking, no cussing. Cause Mama Jones still watching, no fronting. Yeah, late nights with Santana. You already knew. Late nights with Santana. Late nights, no static. Yeah, Mama Jones watching, so keep it grown. Ain't about flexing, this a purpose zone. Santana hold it steady when it might get hot. But we ain't here to fight, we here to connect the dots. Mama Jones watching, so keep it grown. Ain't about flexing, this a purpose zone. Santana hold it steady when it might get hot. But we ain't here to fight, we here to connect the dots. Weekly topics, hearts wide open. No judgment, just motion. Real ones are talking, no cussing. Cause Mama Jones still watching, no fronting. Yeah, late nights with Santana. You already knew. Late nights with Santana.
Guys, welcome in. This is Late Nights with Santana, and this is Open Mic Night. This is Open Mic Night. We have been having conversations when it comes to the things that are facing us in our community, whether it's things that are happening domestically, globally, whether it's things that's happening on or off the internet. I've also been saying, hey, what do you guys want to see us do here on Late Nights? And last but not least, tomorrow, big day, we're going to be making commitments. We're going to be making commitments because we got to lock in and make a decision as far as how we are going to actually go through and finish out the rest of the year, right? So with that being said, the way we ended last night is the way that we're going to start this evening. All right. I want to take a moment to let people know, if you're in the request and you're not black, go ahead and get out the request. Because we're getting ready to have a conversation on FBA. And a lot of people have said, what's FBA? What do you mean, Santana? What's FBA? People are saying, hey, FBA, I don't know what that is. Can you tell us what FBA is? Well, we're going to tell you what FBA is. FBA stands for Foundational Black Americans. FBA is a subsection, an skewer section of the internet that for some reason feels like there is a divide. Obscure. There we go. Good job, Noah. Appreciate it. Noah, get up here. Obscure. Obscure is thank you for my shish kebabs. Obscure. Obscure subsection of the internet that for some reason thinks that the Black diaspora is one that shouldn't exist in the sense of Black unity. They believe that they are foundational to America, meaning that if you're not Black American, then you're not truly Black. Now, there's some interesting stuff that's been happening on the internet, including people who, for some reason, feel like it's necessary to invalidate the lived experiences of other Black people around the world. Particularly, for some reason, believing that Black people in the global South, for some reason, Black people in the global South, well, those Black people, they don't have it as rough as Black people in America. Or who cares about those Black people in the global South? And there's also been some perpetuation of like, I love what ICE is doing because those immigrants need to go back to their country, go back to where they came from. This is our country. So we're going to deal with the premises as far as who FBA is and what they are doing, how they are absolutely perpetuating white supremacy, how the divide within the Black diaspora is absolutely harmful, how they engage in rampant xenophobia, and how it doesn't matter to a white supremacist whether you're Black American, you're Black from Ethiopia, you're Black from Brazil, you're Black from Italy. None of that matters. None of that matters. But for some reason, people who claim to be FBA don't understand that. So, again, this is a very, very Black conversation. If you are a Black person and you have thoughts on FBA and you would like to share your thoughts on FBA, heck, if you are a Black person, you identify as FBA, go ahead and get up here. Join the conversation. Everyone is welcome. But the thing that I will say is that we're going to squash this. Well, at least the notion that Black people in America don't care about anyone else that's not Black from America. And to be very clear, Santana, I guess you could say I'm very foundational to America when it comes to my family because we're super Black. Anywho, go ahead and get up here. If you are a Black person that would like to join the conversation around FBA, the panel is now open. As I get people in, please mute yourself. Well, actually, if I'm going to bring you in, and if I don't know you, we're going to do a quick temperature check. We're going to do a quick temperature check because I'm not interested in anyone blackfishing. So if I don't know you, you're not going to be able to blackfish. Why were you spamming let me up? Are you black, Jolly?
Yeah, I'm black.
Okay. No, thank you. I have no interest in you being weird. All right. Again, if you are someone that wants to join this conversation, the conversation is revolving around FBA. Then go ahead and get up here and we're going to get started. Joanna, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Wonderful, wonderful. Joanna, would you consider yourself to be FBA? And what is your general stance on FBA?
Is your mama watching tonight?
I'm sure she is. I just talked to her like 40 minutes ago and she was like, I thought I saw something saying that you're supposed to be going live. And I was like, yeah, we pushed it back a little bit. So.
Okay, well, am I FBA? Absolutely not. What do I think about them? Like one of our favorite therapists said last night, we ain't got time for this.
Mm-hmm.
We have too much we need to be doing. Like, as someone, so I've had this need
don't give it all away, Joanna.
to research my heritage.
Joanna, don't give
I'm
it
not
all away.
just a little. Okay. Teeny tiny anecdote.
Okay.
I've had this need to research my heritage lately, so I have been. Found out that I have ancestry in, like, with the Gullah Geechee people, some in Louisiana.
Sorry.
You good. And I also found out that my great-great-grandfather was the survivor of an attempted strange fruiting.
Mm.
So for that to be what's running through my blood, the perseverance, the strength, I can't see myself despising and disparaging somebody else that looks like me, that's black like me, just because they weren't born in this country. It's asinine.
Okay. Okay. All right. Perfect. 1 second. Noah, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Noah, I'm good. Noah, tell the people, would you consider yourself to be FBA or Tether? And what is your thoughts on FBA?
I don't consider myself to be FBA. I have negative thoughts, though, because I've actually been pretty familiar with the ideology for a minute because I got a bunch of FBAs in my family, unfortunately. Really? I had a falling out with my uncle. He's like, you co-signing a Caribbean tether. I'm like, you talking about Malcolm X? What's going on? Yeah.
Okay. Everybody proud of Kamala Harris. So, I'm sorry. All right, 1 second. Irma, how are you?
I am good. How are you?
Good. Irma, would you consider yourself to be FBA? And what are your thoughts on FBA?
Absolutely not. Nope. It's a trip. I don't understand the need to be the special little snowflake. That's the way I see it. They want to be different. They want to be better. They want to be superior. So they gotta try to knock these people down to say that, they're not like us. We're the real ones. I mean, it's just it's like every decade, every generation, somebody else comes up with a new thing. It's been like all kinds of, it's been HOTEPs, it's been 5%ers, it's been all kinds. Now it's this. And I just see it as them wanting to feel special and superior to other Black folks.
Wait, so are you saying they're the new iteration of the Black Israelites? All right.
Well, not along the same vein. Like, we are the real one, not y'all. We're the special ones, not y'all.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. Give me 1 second. The realist therapist, how are you?
Hi, Santana. Hi, everyone else.
Hello.
Good evening, y'all.
Good evening. Would you consider yourself to be FBA, and what are your thoughts?
No. I don't understand the problem with embracing that Black people, especially the ones in America, have a rich and very diverse background. I don't mind being called Black American, African American, Black, super Black. I embrace all of it because I know that it's all these different types of cultures, races, ethnicities that brought me to the person that I am today. And I don't understand why there's a big push to separate us like this is the time that we need to be coming together and embracing each other and having more of a sense of community instead of finding separate reason or finding another reason to separate ourselves. In my opinion, that's the slave mentality. And I think it's time that some of us come off of the plantation because all that is isolating and separating ourselves. And that's what keeps people oppressed and in bondage is when we can't come together because we're stronger together. And pulling us apart like that is not helping us to uplift each other at all.
Yeah. Absolutely. Perfect. All right. So like I said, we're going to go ahead and get started. If you are a Black person that is interested in joining this conversation, then go ahead and get up here. Right. This conversation is going to be Black AF. And if you are not a Black person and you want to hang out in the chat, hey, you're welcome. Because there's been a lot of questions about what's FBA and all this other stuff. So hang out, tap the screen, share the live, send your heart me, all the good stuff, gift the panel. But please, keep it in the pocket, because if you don't, my mods will chin check you. Just letting you know. All right. But if you're interested in joining the conversation, get up here. But just a few reminders for the people on the panel. Guys, please use TikTok friendly language. What does that mean? That means using words like pew pew, unalive, mustache man, C19. And those that type of lingo will protect your TikTok and the live so we can continue to have the conversation. But also, please remember that this is a safe and friendly community. What does that mean? That means that we don't deal with any of the isms. Racism, sexism, classism. We also don't deal with any of the phobias, homophobia, transphobia, none of that. We don't play that on the panel nor in the chat. Speaking of the chat, please don't use caps. Caps are for mods, and it will draw my attention away from the conversation and to the actual comments. And we want to make sure that we are able to have this conversation. Let's make sure, though, if you're hanging out, be active participants. Tap the screen, share the live, send your daily heart me, repost the live. That's really big. I'm going to keep resetting the daily gift goals to these little 1-cent gift goals. If we can knock those out a couple of times, it'll help boost the live. Right now, we got the little pink heart puffs, and I don't think we've gotten off the little pink heart puffs at all yet. This is the first one. Can we knock those out, please? Last but not least, if you would like to support the live, if you like what we do here on Late Nights with Santana and you would like to support the live, please consider donating. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, pay links and links are in the bio. Santana speaks for you. If you're over on YouTube, you can send a super chat and I will read that out. All right, so I want to read this because we're going to start here. FBA, Foundational Black America, is something that is, like I said, it's obscure in a sense of the movement that's occurring on the internet. But just because the movement is occurring on the internet does not mean the quote unquote movement is not organized. FBA has a website. If you guys have not had an opportunity to take a look at the website, they have a website. So they have listed on their history, it says FBA, the history. Foundational Black American are proud descendants of Black men and women who endured and survived one of the greatest atrocities in human history, American slavery. These resilient ancestors built the United States from the ground up, laying the foundation for the nation's economic, political, and cultural development. However, the rich history of FBA did not begin in 1619 with the arrival of enslaved Black people in Virginia. It began nearly a century earlier. I'm gonna mute you, Armor. There we go. It goes on to talk about a couple of different things as far as like the Spanish colonization, and they start talking about a defining moment in 1526 when they planted roots of their resilience, and they talk about the actual clarification. And this is something here. Let me make sure I read this part out here. It's important to clarify that Foundational Black America is not a group or an organization, and there is no designated leader of FBA. The FBA lineage is based in designation that specifically refers to over 43 Black Americans who are direct descendants of the freedmen. Remember that term, guys. That's super important for them. Direct descendants of the freedmen. The formerly enslaved Black people who were emancipated in the United States. The lineage represents an equal and unbroken connection to the foundation builders of this nation. So, at the core premise of what FBA believes, if your quote unquote lineage does not track back directly to slavery, then you're not foundational to America. Meaning, if you're a Black person and your family migrated to the United States of America after the abolishment of slavery, chattel slavery, then you're not actually Black American. That's their entire point. In order to be considered foundational, you have to be direct descendants of these slaves that endured chattel slavery. So I'm going to start the conversation here, and I'm going to start with you, Joanna. Understanding the struggle that Black people face today, and understanding the atrocities which were mentioned of slavery, excuse me, of chattel slavery. Oh, excuse me. Hearing their premise as far as the connection, can you understand their viewpoint at all?
No, like I've tried, and sometimes they make points, but it's still no, because that discounts all of the contributions of the Black people that got here after. That discounts all of the contributions that allow us pathways to this day to have a connection to the continent that we wouldn't have because of the way that our history was stolen and beat out of us and unalived out of us and tortured out of us this whole time. So no, it's giving, like you mentioned earlier, it's the same thing as the Purple Power Rangers. Mm-hmm. That's what I call the Black Hebrew Israelites, because they always run around doing the most in purple. But it's giving the same line of, I don't know who I am, because a lot of us don't know our heritage from the continent, that they want to feel superior in having something that's specifically theirs and only theirs, which is another tactic of white supremacy. Like, for me, at the end of the day, whenever you and Tucker Carlson are on the same side of a race issue, maybe you should check your mental and see what's going on up there, because it's giving two marbles and a blade of grass.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's a lot to be said about that, and even more so, like you hit something home. I've talked about this multiple times, and like for me, and I've said before that as far as I know, my family's history, I can track my history back to the plantations within the South. But I always feel a sense of disconnection that I can't track my lineage back even further to like Africa. Like I've done ancestry and DNA, and I can tell like darn it, why am I getting lost with words? My DNA is made up of different areas throughout the continent of Africa, but I don't have that direct understanding as far as where my family was stolen from. And so I understand the desire and the want and need to say, like, this is who we are. We're firmly planted in this place, in this time, in this space. But that has never given me the desire to invalidate or say, like, it's only for me. Joanna, one more thing for you. You mentioned like the Black Israelites and how this is like another iteration, which I completely agree. Why? I hear you saying, you know, like wanting something of your own, but why is it that they're willing to, in your opinion, willing to weaponize the experience that they have and the idea of them creating something that's specifically for Black people who don't have that prior history? They're willing to weaponize that against people that are, you know, from other countries, because it's rampant xenophobia that we're seeing and the way that they continue to weaponize it against Black people that aren't from America.
I mean, for me, I feel like having that disconnection that we have can make you feel powerless in a way when you're trying to figure out who you are, become a better version of yourself, grow, obtain things, be powerful, right? And the way that we've seen power grow because of white supremacy is to stomp on other people and erase other people and take over other people and carve out this one thing for yourself and say, okay, this is mine. Even if you've stolen it from somebody else, like they tried to do erasure with the indigenous people.
We didn't get to that yet.
That's the way that we've seen people obtain and maintain power, because that's what white supremacy does, right? All over the globe. For them to be such a small population of the entire globe and obtain as much power as they have, it's nefarious and it's disgusting. But when you crave power that much, sometimes you're willing to look at whatever avenue you've seen work to get it.
Yeah, proximity to power. That's why so many Black men were willing to actually support Donald Trump, someone who is actively working against their best interests. Okay. All right. We're going to keep it moving. Also, just an FYI for, hey, La La Land, I appreciate you sharing the live. Thank you. But we only need to share maybe like once or twice. Spam sharing is not good. So we're good. Thank you. Repost the live though. That helps way more than sharing the live. For anyone who doesn't know, reposting the live helps a ton. But if there's anyone else who wants to come up and join the conversation, it doesn't matter if you are Black from America. It doesn't matter if your family is from another country. Heck, it doesn't matter if you are first generation or whatever the case may be. You may not even be in America. If you're Black and you want to join the conversation, you are more than welcome to get up here. Noah, coming to you. And just to verify, because my wife and I have had this conversation, Noah, are you, I see you mentioned your family and you threw me off a little bit. Were you born here, your family, or what's your backstory?
Do I really give tether?
No, I'm just trying to understand.
Yeah, I was born here.
Okay. Well, I think you know what it is. I think it's the if I'm going to be honest, the wealth of knowledge that you tend to exude, you seem like you're very well versed. I'll just say that. All right. You're so well spoken, but no. It seems like you have like such a, it's super interesting. And I'm going to say this. One issue that I think that is something that's super present within people who believe in this FBA movement is that they have a lack of knowledge and understanding of the entire world, right? They're so stuck on what's happening here in the US. And like, this may have been a personal attack on my side. And I've said, like, most of them only say the things that they say because they've never left the country. And they have a lack of understanding and a lack of care about the struggles of Black people throughout the entire world, especially the global South. And so I think that's something very big that we have to talk about. And the reason why, like, I wondered that about you is because, again, your actual not overwhelming, but you're kind of smart. Anyway, what do you think about that? Is it for you? Do you think there's a lack of understanding, a lack of care, or like, why is it that FBA is so insistent on like isolating themselves from all Black people across the diaspora?
I think what you said kind of got to it, because I was actually going to say before you even asked that question, like in the statement that you read, and I've heard this from FBAs in general, there's this like presupposition that there's this singularity to American chattel slavery. And while it was certainly different than other types of anti-Black slavery that was going on, for instance, like Brazil was super different than the United States. If we look at the Caribbean, Haiti even had Black codes, for instance. Like Haiti in particular had an institution of slavery that was so similar to the United States. And I don't think people are really that versed, I guess, in like Caribbean history or history in other parts of the Black diaspora. And so they, you see these like fractures that are happening. But I also feel like a big part of it is sort of what Covey was bringing up the first night when she was talking about the way that radical language gets hijacked. I think about this a lot in the context of liberalism. Like, I actually think liberalism has set the conditions for a type of FBA movement to get traction. And I say that because liberalism as a sort of like hegemonic ideology will appropriate radical language, radical movements, radical figures, and it'll distort them, sort of strip them of their principles, and then invoke and instrumentalize them for like liberal reactionary ends. One thing that made me think about this in particular was there's been a lot of diaspora wars on this app lately, and I encountered this liberal iteration. Like, these are people who are like really go hard for the Democrats iteration of FBA. They even used the word tether, which was kind of crazy to me. But they brought up like Malcolm was FBA or something, and they said that in the sense of like he was looking out for Black Americans primarily and first. And I think to think that about Malcolm, or really any of the figures that we think about as comprising the Black radical tradition. Sorry, I was reading a comment. All of these people had an internationalist politic. They understood and examined the conditions of Black Americans in tandem with Black people across the diaspora, and understood our struggles as both linked and often identical in ways, right? And I just feel like there's been a death of the Black radical tradition through this hijacking of language that Covey was speaking to.
Yeah. How do they make that connection with like Malcolm X, and thinking that Malcolm X would only be like focused on Black people in America? Like, that doesn't even make sense to me. Again, that
makes no sense.
The only thing that I could say is that it has to be a lack of knowledge and education, right?
Again, I just feel like this distortion of these radical or revolutionary ancestors is so common practice that, like, their principles to the general public are just like not recognizable because they've been so vulgarized and bastardized. Okay. All right.
Irma, coming to you. You said something that was interesting to me when you talked about the fact that you don't mind being called Black American, Black African American. And it speaks to the understanding that you have of being Black, right? Because Irma, I don't know if you know, but FBA gives the like, I'm not Black, I'm OJ type vibe, right? And the point that I'm getting to is that the separation that's being created is something that's harmful, and they try to use that separation and weaponize the separation by calling people things like tether, right? Which insinuates that even though that you're quote unquote Black and you're from America, you're still not that connective tissue. You're not foundational. You might have family that is from America and you guys have been here generations, but you're still like a connective tissue. You're not original. Why is it that not only are they separating themselves and then separating Black people that aren't from the US with rampant xenophobia, but then even Black people that may have been here for generations, they're willing to separate them from like everyone else as well? Why do you think they're doing that?
I really have no idea, and it's something that I've been trying to figure out myself. I can only guess that it does deal with like insecurities about themselves and how they feel about themselves. And it's hard for me to understand something like that because in my family, especially my mom's side, right, we grew up and being told about our history, as much as we could, because I have a huge family, especially on my mom's side. Like, I literally stopped counting at 300. It's a big, big family. And they're from East Texas mostly, but also a few other places. And we've been told, everything that they knew about our family history. Mm-hmm. Who's where we're from, what other things are in our bloodline, such as like Native American and Asian, stuff like that. And we've always been taught to be proud of our Blackness, that Black is beautiful, that our hair is beautiful. It can be works of art. Our skin color is beautiful. Our family is beautiful. So for someone who's Black and who feels like inferior or, doesn't feel good enough about their own Black skin to try to tear someone else down, it really confuses me. I don't understand that. Mm-hmm. And I understand that not everyone grew up the same way and not every family's perfect or anything. I'm not saying mine is. Mine is far from perfect. But that is one thing I can say for sure that my family instilled in us from jump, as long as I can remember. Mm. We've always had a sense of family pride in who we are and what we've done.
Do you think that that's one of the reasons, though, that they tend to want to be like so close knit, because they feel like not only are they creating a connection to a history that like a history that they can root in what they know, but also it creates like this coalition, this community, this family of people who are like-minded and they can at least share within that?
Yeah, it reminds me of a conversation you and I had on one of your lives a while back about that, about building community and stuff. And I think that's what it is. I mean, like, for example, growing up, I was one of the outcasts. I was like one of the weird Black kids, right? Mm-hmm. And so I found community with other people, and it was a big mix of, everybody. And that's probably the same thing. They're finding like-minded people, and they're kind of just like feeding into themselves on, this is what we are, this is what we do, and like kind of pumping each other up and stuff. Mm-hmm. So that's the only way I can see it. And until yesterday, I had absolutely no interest whatsoever in discussing anything with an FBA. But after I talked to you, I started thinking about it, and I was like, you know what? If anybody comes up and talks tonight, I'm actually going to listen with an open mind and try to hear where they're coming from.
Yeah. I understand that. I've had many conversations with people who identify as FBA because, surprise, surprise, they tend to be Republicans, and I debate Trump supporters a lot, and there's a lot of crossover. And every single time, not one good point have I ever heard. So, but yeah, we'll see. All right, Irma, thank you. The real therapist, coming to you. I'm gonna need you to put on your therapist hat for a moment, and I would love to hear the maybe 30,000 feet psychological profile that you would work up when it comes to being FBA, because for me, they all have kind of a similar pattern, cadence, mindset, and it's super interesting because I say this all the time. Black people tend to be very communal, right? Black people are very welcoming, opening, like naturally want to share in a sense of like our culture, our experience. The one thing that I've been told and I've heard about Black people is that we don't gatekeep enough. We invite everybody to the cookout, right? And when it comes to people who identify as FBA, they tend to be very reclusive, very off-putting to anyone that's not them, very much so separative and like I. Am I off base? Have you seen something else? Just what are your thoughts on that?
I'm glad you used the word gatekeeping. So this is how I look at it. And that's why I say some people are still on the plantation. And we have to move away from that. On the plantation, Black people who were enslaved were exposed to a scarcity mindset. They were exposed to this. They were exposed to the have and the have-nots. It's like, oh, we'll take this one slave and put him in better clothes than you and give him a horse, and now he has something that you all don't have. Or we'll take this one person and they can be in the house, and now they have something that you all do not have. And it's like making everybody else seem like, okay, we're without, and then they have something that we don't have. Guess what? Y'all all still slaves. They're still not free. But when you see that over and over and it gets beat over your head that there's a certain group of people that have something and there's a certain people that don't have, they take on that form of, well, if we can feel like we have something that nobody else has, it gives them this kind of superiority complex over somebody else. But that also shows that this line of thinking has been transformed from the slave master. It's a pathology that has been passed down that wasn't healed, because instead of taking on the pathology of the slave owners, they should have stuck with the general roots of Africans, which was a sense of community and togetherness. But through oppression and bondage, a split happened to where instead of thinking togetherness, community, abundance, they started thinking scarcity. It can only be one. It can only be this group. We can only have this to be this. And then we have to gatekeep it so that nobody else can have it. Again, that type of thinking, you're still on the plantation, because it still gets you nowhere. It's not advancing you. When you have to shut people out, it's not advancing you. When you can't embrace the full capacity and the full spectrum of who you are and who your own people are, you're still not helping us advance. Because Black Americans did not just spontaneously happen because some of us became free, because some of us went to the North, because some of us got our freedom papers yesterday. There was a lot of us that came over and never hit slavery because they were immediately up North. There were some of us that came over, after slavery. There's some of us that came from islands. There were some of us that have Native American heritage. That doesn't make anyone less Black than before. And we're tearing each other down by trying to measure the amount of Blackness someone has. And you know who else measures the amount of Blackness that someone has? colonizers. Y'all are doing the same thing that they're doing over and over again. And again, that's not advancing us at all. You're just keeping their same pathology.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm glad that you said that. And I think it segues perfectly to where we're getting ready to take it. So I'm going to say this. Again, if you are interested in joining the conversation and you are a Black person, it doesn't matter if you're a Black person in the US, if you are a Black person that family is from a different country, if you are a Black person that is outside of the US, if you want to join the conversation, then get up here. Get up here. Now, chat, lock in for me. Lock in for me. This is about to take a different tone, temperature, and gear. So tap the screen, share the live, send your daily heart me, knock out the daily gift goal. It's the finger hearts. Knock out the finger hearts. If you'd like to support the live, you can do so Cash App, PayPal, Venmo. Pay links and link to in the bio. Santana speaks for you. If you're over on YouTube, you can send a super chat. I will read that out. Make sure you're gifting the lovely panel. Make sure that we are actively participating. For all of my non-Black friends that are here hanging out, it is perfectly fine. We welcome you to listen to the conversation. But this is a Black AF conversation. So just an FYI, if you do a little too much, my mods are going to chin check you. I'm giving you a heads up. If you're not Black and you're doing too much in the comments, they're going to mute you. I'm just giving you a heads up. Noah, there's been a diaspora war that is occurring on TikTok, and specifically, they've been targeting people and calling people out, whether it's Black people that aren't from the US, Black people that are in the US, calling them tethers, basically going on a complete smear campaign. They've smeared people that you and I both know. They've invalidated the Black lived experience. They've been whole, full-blown white supremacists while being Black. Let's talk about it. The floor is yours.
Yeah, I mean, I could speak to, I'll speak in a generalized way, but things specific to what I've been seeing and what I attribute it to. But like I said, a lot of the ones that I've seen that have been moving weird with people that we both know are not the Republican type, which is also the one that I tend to encounter. Usually they're really conservative because they tend to be homophobic and all these other things. That statement you read kind of pissed me off because I feel like it omitted so much of what the ideology actually consists of. But in terms of the diaspora wars that I've been witnessing, there seems to be a lot of discontent over the 2024 election and Kamala Harris's loss. And there's this like weird attribution of her loss to Black immigrants, which I don't even think we really have data for. Because I think when people speak about like the 92% of Black women who voted for Kamala Harris, like, I don't think they were doing an ethnic like separation for that statistic. So I don't know what people are talking about. But I guess there's this belief now that Black immigrants are uniquely reactionary or regressive politically, and therefore need to be subject to this targeting that you're talking about. It's super, super bizarre to me. I think the second part is the election loss for a lot of people. And a lot of this is true. I know there was an internal like DNC memo that confirmed this about how like Palestine was like a really big issue as to like why people are like attributed to her loss, right? And I feel like because people recognize that there are some folks who have taken on this weird apathy towards imperialism that I've been witnessing in liberal spaces, as well as these like nationalist sort of sentiments that are veiled in progressive language. And I'll give you an example. One of them is like, you know, Black people are going through a lot in the United States. We got to put our mask on first before we help somebody else. And again, it sounds good on the surface, but I think it's just a rehashing of America First, which is a white supremacist imperialist ideology. I don't think folks are clocking it, But yeah.
Yep. That's something that that absolutely, it's infuriating, because the only thing that they're doing is furthering white supremacy by creating a larger divide between Black people. And you hit something right on the head as far as like, for me, Noah, I do the politics. You don't really do the politics. I do the politics. I have never seen an ethnicity breakdown of the people that voted for Kamala Harris. But then again, by their entire premise, Barack Obama, Kamala Harris, they would be tethers, right? How do they square that circle?
Look, the ideology is incoherent. I don't know what to tell you. It's a really incoherent ideology. Because I didn't know until recently, they think that Black immigrants oppress Black Americans. That was missing from the statement that you read.
Yeah, they do. Joanna, coming to you. As a 92%er, right? The premise that somehow that Black immigrants let Black people, Black Americans down in the way that they voted, which again doesn't make sense to me. But Joanna, as someone who is a part of the demographic that was absolutely on the right side of history more than any other demographic, have you ever thought about like the 8% and whether that 8% is made up of all immigrants that were Black women, or like, how do you look at that one?
I try to ignore them when they do that because it's so incoherent. Like, I hear enough foolishness from white people that supported Trump, and white people that are bigots, and white people that espouse racist, white supremacist ideology. I don't need to hear that from my people too. Like, once again, like the real therapist says, we do not have time for any of this division. We don't have time for any of this foolishness. If they even had the stats, but they don't have stats, which is also a funny thing because they speak from such a place of authority to the point where they get pissed at you when you don't believe them and fall into their ideology, even when you're someone that they would consider FBA. So it's perplexing and confusing because they don't have the numbers. Most of them haven't even traced their own genetics, so they don't know when, from where, at what century. Like, they don't even know. And they also get pissed when you ask them that. So thinking that you can blame such a small group of people that you don't even have the stats on, while espousing the ideology of the people that you should be blaming the loss on. Because by this time, a lot of us know how insidious white supremacy can be, and how they use divide and conquer tactics to bust up movements and take out our leaders and cause division and make that crab in a barrel type of mentality. And they fall into that without thinking crabs don't even belong in a barrel.
Yep.
So I don't get it. I'll never understand it. Like, I've tried to see if I could try to reach a couple of them recently, because I didn't know who Tariq Nasheed was until like 2 months ago.
I didn't know who he was until like 2 days ago.
So yeah, it's stupid. And I don't know why they do that. They don't have a coherent argument for why they do it either. So I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. W's in the chat for Swan and Peach. I see both of you. Peach, Swan, I would love to hear both of your thoughts. Swan, I kind of know yours, and I want you up here for this conversation. But Peach, if you can, hey, thank you for that. Peach, I would love to get your perspective on this. We're having a real Black conversation this evening. This evening, we're focusing on FBA. This evening, we're focusing on FBA, and we're only letting Black people up on the panel. So, yeah, if you're someone that's just getting in here, that's super cool. And you want to join that conversation, get up here. You're welcome. You're more than welcome. Irma, I'm coming to you. There was an actual premise, and I don't know if you knew about this, but like growing up, there was the ideology that was taught to me that Black people from Africa don't like Black people in America. Black people from Africa don't like Black people in America, and they actually told us that like they look down on Black people from America, and this was something that was perpetuated over and over and over, and something that I heard a lot, and then it started to present itself into like, well, if they don't like us, we don't like them, right? And so it started to create this sense of like, oh, well, Black people from Africa, they all live in like mud huts anyway. And then they started to say things like when they were trying to, like, you were younger and they tried to pick on other people, they would say, oh, you're a quote unquote African booty scratcher, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that was something that was actually taught in the sense of creating additional separation within the Black diaspora. Thank you. And I didn't see it until I got older. And I didn't recognize it until I got older. But it feels like FBA, that's where they are now today. That's why they're so willing to attack other Black people and weaponize that, because they're still stuck in that same mindset that was taught to us so long ago. What do you think?
No, I remember the same thing growing up, and I'm grateful that I grew up where I did, because I grew up in San Antonio, and it's a big military town. So if I don't think I would have the views that I do now if I hadn't grown up that way, because I met a lot of people from all over, and I knew a lot of Black, a lot of African people. And one of the people I'm still friends with to this day, and he is cool as anything. And that really changed my perspective, was getting to know people who were from another country, and not just from another country, another continent, who were not Black people born in America. You know what I mean? So that helped me go, oh, he does not look down on me. She doesn't look down on me. They think that we are the same. We are equals. And I was like, I never really thought of that, because when you grow up hearing what, you know, your family says, the people in your community. And I would hear that a lot. I would hear that Africans don't like us. They think they're better. You know, they come here and they take resources and this and that. And mind you, remember I said I'm turning 50 next week. Mm-hmm. So, you know, this has been going on for a long time. And I'm still hearing it. And I'm just like, are you serious? Like, we have so much information now and so many ways to talk to people. It's ridiculous. So for you to have those beliefs in, you know, today in 2026, it's crazy to me. It's absolutely crazy. I'm like, if you really feel that this group of people don't like you, why don't you ask them why? And then you might find out something different. Yeah. And that's one of the things that about me is, if I have a question, I will go find the answer. If I'm curious about a culture, I will go ask that person of the culture, because I want to know for myself, and I want to know from the horse's mouth, and I want to know as many facts as I can find out over what I've been told and what I've been feeling and stuff. Because if I never started asking questions, I would be a miserable, uneducated person.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be that way.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I don't understand.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Give me a second. I'm going to take a quick sidebar because I saw something that's happening in the chat, and I want to take a minute to directly address this. For anyone that may have a problem with the fact that this is a Black conversation, that this is a community conversation, it is what it is. This is a conversation that myself as a Black man, as the host of this space and this platform, I am actively making to make this conversation a Black conversation. And so other times on late nights throughout the rest of the week, this conversation has been about the entire community, but this is something that I made specifically a decision to make about the issues that I'm seeing across the Black diaspora, and we are having this conversation. And so while other people may want to be included in this conversation and may want to be included on the panel, you don't get access. It's not personal, but this is what we're doing. And if you have a problem with it, then you are always welcome to scroll out. Hopefully I'll see you again some other day. But to be very clear and to be very transparent, I don't care if you are Black from America, if you are Afro-Latino, if you are a Black Mexican person, like, I don't care. If you're Black, then you're welcome. If you're not Black, then this conversation tonight is not for you. I just want to be very, very clear with that point. I don't care where you are in the world, where you're from in the world. If you're Black, join the conversation. If you're not, it's not for you, no matter how much you may want to join the conversation. All right, just had to get that out. Now, with that being said, the real therapist, I want to come to you, and I want to kind of talk about like the going back to what I was just saying as far as like what we were taught when we were younger, and how it's transitioned to being something that's still persistent today within the FBA, but even more so when you talk about the way that Black people are attacking other Black people, pretending as if there's some type of separation. And you made a great point as far as like that, the slave mentality still being on the plantation, the scarcity. But the one thing that you didn't talk enough about were the actual Black people that participated in like being the slave catchers, the ones that actually, Harriet Tubman had to keep the burner for, right? The ones that wanted to continue to have that proximity to power, the ones that wanted to stay in bondage because not only this is what they knew, but they felt like if they could get closer, to your point, if they had nice enough clothes, if they had a horse that they could ride on, then they were close enough to being white that they don't have to embrace their Blackness. And that seems like what's happening with the same group. I don't know about you, but even though they say they're FBA, it seems like to me that they're vehemently rejecting their Blackness.
Yeah, that's a big lack of knowledge of self. There's no way you can truly think you know yourself if you deny all aspects of who we are. There's no way you can feel like you have knowledge of self if you deny parts of ourselves. Because to be Black in America is to understand that there is a lot of cultures that go into us. There is no pure Black American. We are all mixed of something coming over here and mixing with other races and other cultures. And denying that is denying the true essence of yourself. And when you deny parts of yourself, you have to think about what it is, the goal that you're trying to achieve. What are you trying to achieve? And I feel like that's a buy-in into white supremacy, because though that is the group that felt like they had to measure a person's Blackness. even though they live by the one drop rule, but there was still, oh, this person, if they speak like this, if they dress like this, if their skin is like this, then we can pull them in closer to us. It's still that it can only be the one thing. And when you treat someone, if you that one that they pulled over to their side to make everybody jealous, if you're that one person that they pulled over to make it seem like they like you, when I say seem with, air quotes, you start to think that your proximity to whiteness grants you privileges that everybody else didn't get. And then you start to say that scarcity mindset comes in, is that, oh, I have this, they like me, and I can't trade that, because if we let too many people in, I won't have this privilege anymore. They think that they're having something over somebody else. And what is it that you're really getting? Because at the end of the day, again, the colonizers still play by the one drop rule. So it don't matter if you feel like you have something that Black people don't have. If you feel like you're measuring your Blackness against everybody else's, when you go outside, when you're in your car, when you're in the store, when you're at that job, you still Black. They still see you as Black, African American, descendants of slavery. So you're not getting ahead or getting nothing on anybody else. You're just playing yourself at the end of the day. And then you're losing the community that actually really does have your back.
Yeah. I think they don't see that as well, right? Because like, maybe it's just me, maybe I'm a little too logical in the sense of understanding that we as a people are stronger together than we are individually, and creating these artificial lines between Black people just for a sense of belonging to a subgroup is weird, when we could have so much collective power. And like, I don't get that. I don't get that.
They lost the sense of abundance. They lost the mindset that it's enough for everybody. They lost the mindset of surplus, and they have to hold on to that because they think that it can be gone at any moment. And if they don't hold on to it, and then it becomes a free for all, that they won't have something. And it's a pathology that they've still been carrying over from the plantation, when no other cultural group thinks like that. Nobody else thinks in scarcity but Black people. When everybody else are thinking that we have enough to share with our fellow, we have enough for our neighbor, we have enough for the people in our community. We're the only ones that try to keep holding and hoarding on to stuff as if there's not, and that's the lie we've been sold, is that us thinking that there's not enough to go around. And it is, because there's enough of us that we can share things. There's enough knowledge to go around if we actually stick together and have that sense of community, and we move together as a collective instead of separating ourselves. There's more than enough. Yep.
Absolutely. All right. So we got two new people on the panel. We're going to do the quick introduction questions, and then we'll get them wrapped into the conversation. If you are interested in joining the conversation and you are a Black person that wants to join the conversation, go ahead and request up. It doesn't matter if you are a Black person in or outside of the US. If you want to join the conversation, go ahead and get up here. I'm gonna start swapping a couple of people out just to create a little bit more room on the panel. So Joanna, I'm gonna swap you out first, okay?
Cool beans. Before I go, I'm gonna do my usual. I'm not seeing these hearts fly up my screen, and I need y'all to get that together for this Black AWS conversation. I need y'all liking. I need you reposting. We need to get these likes up. 116 is disappointing. Y'all stop being embarrassing and do everything you know you need to be doing. I also haven't heard Twins say thank you for a donation. I don't know what's happening. It's giving anti-Black. And I know our community ain't anti-Black. So let's get it together.
No,
you can drop me.
I appreciate you, Joanna. And Irma, I see that you said that you had to, you wanted to say something and then you were going to drop. I'll give you the floor really quick before we introduce Peach and Swan.
Yeah, I got to drop. But I enjoyed the conversation. I enjoyed hearing everyone, and I see a few people that I do recognize, like Joanna, of course, and Swan. So I will just say that it's been real. I really enjoyed it, and hopefully I'll get to do it again.
I'm really happy that you came back to have this conversation. I know you said you were a little bit like hesitant at first, but I'm really glad that you did it. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Have a good one.
You too.
All right. Like I said, we're going to go ahead and get a few more people in on this conversation. If you are interested in joining the conversation, go ahead and request up. The only requirements, got to be Black AF. That's the only requirements. You got to be Black AF. And I want to get as many people in as possible. So I'm going to do the real therapist. I'm going to go ahead and swap you out as well so we can get a couple more people in here, okay?
Thank you, Santana.
All right.
And thank you, everyone on the panel. I'll be still in the chat listening.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. And now I was going to keep Noah as the complimentary tether, but Noah, we got someone else in the request. So I'm going to go ahead and swap you out as well, because I want to get a few more people in here. OK. But Noah,
wait, Cub is Ethiopian though, so
well, but you're the token.
I thought it was only Black people on the panel.
Ethiopians are Caucasian. Anyway, listen, hang out, because you know how I do towards the end. So,
who, me?
Yes, you, dude.
Oh,
okay. Hang out. You know what I do towards the end. We'll get you back up here.
Bet.
All right. All right. We officially have a whole brand new panel. So this is going to be super interesting. Really quick, guys. Debbie's in the chat for MAGA Cries. MAGA Cries sent a $5 donation. Didn't send the message, just send some love. Debbie's in the chat for MAGA Cries. Thank you so much for that $5. Guys, if anyone else would like to support the live, if you like to what we do here on late nights, if you like to support the live and keep it going, please consider donating. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, pay links and link tree in the bio. Santana speaks for you. If you're over on YouTube, you can send a super chat. I will read that out. This is a Black AF conversation, and the center of the conversation is FBA and the diaspora war that for some reason has spilled all across TikTok, and we are getting to the root of it, and we are talking about why this is happening and why it's upholding white supremacy. So since we got a brand new panel, we're going to go through and we're going to do the quick introduction questions. And so we're going to do this quickly and then really get into the conversation. Swan, starting with you. Swan, would you consider yourself to be FBA, and what is your stance on FBA?
I am not FBA. I think that FBA is extremely problematic in my personal opinion. I'm just Black American, African American. I don't mind either one of those labels. But yeah, FBA, foundational Black Americans, aka fear of being African. They're very anti-Black and very anti-African, and I think it's a problem. And now I can definitely give grace. Y'all know me. My grace is probably going to be the end of me, but I can give grace to Black people in the United States who don't necessarily feel as though they have an identity that they can root themselves in comparison to people that coming from other countries. Now, don't get me wrong. All Black people, whether you are indigenous to your land or not, have had their cultures tainted with because of white supremacy and impacted, right? But I think for me, while I understand the confusion and frustration in terms of coming to that realization in society and needing to unpack that, I cannot get with rooting yourself or grounding yourself, right, in the very reason, American, United States, as to why your circumstances are the way that they are. There's been a pattern of Black people who will root themselves in something that hasn't even recognized their humanity. I'll go more into that afterwards, but I am very much so against FBA. I think it's very problematic and very divisive.
Okay. Listen, I'm going to do something that I normally don't do because I want to get people in, and well, never mind. I'm not going to do that because then it might just take away even more. All right, never mind. Peach. Hey, Peach.
What up, Taylor? How you doing?
Good. Peach, I adore you so much. I really do. I enjoy when you come up here, and anytime I see you hanging out in my space. Anywho, that's just a personal sidebar. Peach, are you FBA? And what are your thoughts on FBA?
am not, and I personally believe that is a reflection of if anybody's read Dr. Joy DeGruy book Post Traumatic Slave Syndrome. I think that has a lot to do with how people arrive at that that worldview. So it's I do agree with Swan though, it's extremely harmful, and I think there are a lot of like overlapping systems of oppression that also show up too, including misogyny, transphobia, homophobia, all of those things, and so oh man, I really hate it. So I'm sorry. I'm so sorry that I'm muffled. Yeah, I just really hate it.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll say more later.
Okay. Perfect. Give me a second. Nichelle, hi. How are you?
Hey, Santana. Good to see you.
Right. You don't really mess with me anymore. I haven't seen you
Oh my gosh. Don't even say that.
Listen,
it's been a while. Heart. I was listening the whole time.
It's been a while since I've seen you on the panel. That's all I'm saying. Nichelle, are you FBA, and what are your thoughts on FBA?
No, I maybe by their definition, I would be. I'm like Swan said, I'm Black American. That's how I identify, or African American. No, and I think, like everybody else has said, I think the ideology is extraordinarily problematic. When I listen to them, the different, there seemed to be like a spectrum of thoughts. Most of which lead to xenophobic behavior, which I don't identify with at all. But kind of like I believe Swan and Peach both said, it seems to be, from what I can hear, and a lot of them come up all the time, like on Smitty's panel. I invited Smitty in here because I came in because I was listening to some of the stories about how we grew up about, African immigrants, and I wanted to be able to kind of talk about that as well. Some of the stories that I've heard from people that come up on these different panels and what their ideology is. But in terms of like FBA specifically, it seems to be rooted in, like, when you hear them talk, it's like worried about the erasure of Black American culture, right? Okay. So that's what it seems to be rooted in. But yeah, no, I'm definitely not FBA, my friend. And good to see you.
Likewise. All right. Also, what up, Schmitty? W's in the chat for my brother. All right. Zara, hey, welcome back. I'm so glad that you were able to make it. How are you?
I had to cut the reading short. I didn't really meet the goal I was looking forward to, so I'll have to just keep going now.
Okay.
I saw everyone was gathered here, so I thought I'd pop in.
Absolutely. Well, I'm glad that you're here. Zara, can you tell the people, are you FBA, and what are your thoughts on it?
No, I'm not FBA. And as someone who is half Black and half white, it reminds me very familiarly of my experience also being trans, that I am not suitably Black enough, despite the experiences I have consistently with anti-Black violence and racism throughout the entirety of my life. It's just very familiar that the experiences I have as a woman and the things that have harmed me as a woman, the community I've had as a woman, doesn't qualify me enough to be a woman. And the things I've experienced that bring me together with Black people and Blackness are not able or qualifying enough to be Black. Like having my white babysitter shoot me in the I'm so sorry, pew me in the pew me in the skull as a small child when I was a little Black boy. I guess that
trigger warning. We got to make sure we give trigger warnings. We got to be careful with that. So.
Thanks. Sorry, I got apologies. But it's I don't think the babysitter was considering the fact I actually wasn't really Black.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, thank you. Give me a second here. We'll come back to you. Kobe, how are you?
I'm good. What about you?
Good. I am good. I'm good. This has been interesting so far, and I feel like it's about to pick up even more. But Kobe, are you FBA? And what are your thoughts?
I am actually FBA, foundational Black African. So yeah, I am FBA actually. What I think about all of this, I think it's a psyop. Now, I don't want people to think I'm going to put my tinfoil hat on. But
wait. Hold on. I mean, if you're going to do that, then we might as well do it the right way.
You don't you dare. You have a tinfoil? Oh my goodness.
All right, go ahead. We're ready.
Okay. Yeah. So I just think this is all orchestrated. I'm not going to lie. This is orchestrated to push Black people away from kind of like forming solidarity with other Black movements. Because they know that a fragmented people are easy to conquer or easy to rule over. And then also to push Black people away from leftism. Legitimately, I think leftism is purposefully being demonized. I mean, that is also one of the things that COINTELPRO did back in the day. And also what these countries and governments did all across the African continent, and that they actively tried to demonize leftist leaders and communist leaders because they knew that would ultimately dismantle like the status quo, right? So I generally think this is purposeful. I think the algorithm is pushing it out there. And I don't think it's a coincidence that all of a sudden I am seeing more and more Black people, whether it is like continental Black people or Black people from the diaspora, who are defending fascism. So yeah.
Okay. Are you done?
Oh, yes.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna take this off. Give me a second. All right. Okay. We're good. Whew. We're good. All right. And last but not least, Zane. Zane, how are you?
I'm good. It's Zion.
Zion, I'm sorry. Sorry. Zion.
You're okay.
Zion, are you FBA? And what are your thoughts on them?
I am not FBA. I think the FBA movement is just a xenophobic nationalist movement. That is just a representation of what white supremacy creates through the destabilization and displacement of African people. And in order for us to keep us displaced, they install us with these ideologies such as the nationalism that has plagued in the Black community that creates movements like FBA. He also creates like Dominican nationalists, me being Haitian, wanting to keep the island separate. It's just ways of keeping Black people separate globally, because white supremacy is a global system that has to be resisted globally.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. All right. I got a bunch of really quick thank yous that I'm going to get off, and then we're going to get into the conversation, but I want to run through these really quick, guys. You guys are being like wildly generous. I think Joanna may have bullied you guys into actually sending this. W's in the chat for Michael. Michael sent a $10 donation. Michael said, great conversation going on. Thank you, Michael, for the $10 donation. W's in the chat for Brooke, who sent the $1 donation, said, I appreciate you. I appreciate you way more, Brooke. W's in the chat for the B Poser, holy smokes, who sent a $50 donation saying, listening and learning quietly. Really appreciate you. Thank you for what you're doing. Thank you, friend. I appreciate you more. W's in the chat for Carmilla for the $20 donation saying, loving the top tier panel for this Black AF conversation. Listen, we're locked in. W's in the chat for Kyra for the $10 donation saying, I know the panel is FBA focused, but I had a question about the issue of the Blackness being denied by all sides. My first introduction to race was being the joke in a room of white people, but being told I don't fit in a room with Black people. It's been hard to find a safe space. Thank you, Kyra. If this is the person I'm thinking of, like, I think you're Black. Like, if this is the person I think that I'm thinking of, like, this is your conversation. Like, even though it's FBA focused, this is still a Black conversation where we're talking about Black AF issues. And so if there's something that's outside of FBA, and this is for the people on the panel as well, like, FYI, just because we're talking about FBA, like, if there are other issues that, are persisting within the, Black diaspora as a whole, and you guys want to bring that up, like, feel free. Like, we're not limiting to FBA, even though we're talking about that. The FBA is the catalyst. Kira. not Kyra, Kira. Debbie's in the chat for Robin. Holy smokes. Thank you, Robin, for the $40 donation saying, I'm from Toronto and I'm not black, but the diaspora war conversation genuinely were not on my radar, likely because I'm not black and I live in a world with mostly multicultural cities where it seems to be less of the same kind of binary. Would love to also hear opinions outside of the US. Well, we got Kobe up here, and Kobe can do that. Debbie's in the chat for Debbie's in the chat. Thank you for the 5. I already did, but too late. Debbie's in the chat for Tish for the $25 donation, saying so much education. Thank you for having this conversation. Thank you to the panelists for your insight and knowledge. Thank you so much, Tess, for the $25 donation. Last but not least, Debbie's in chat for Wendy. Wendy sent a $50 YouTube super chat. You are amazing. You're amazing. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Wendy. Guys, if anyone else would like to support the live, you can do so. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo. Pay links and Linktree in the bio. Santana speaks for you. If you enjoy late nights, if you want to support the platform and keep it going, please consider donating. Everything's accepted. Anything's appreciated. If you're over on YouTube, you can send a super chat and I will read that out. Make sure you guys are taking care of this wonderful, beautiful panel that we have up here. Please make sure that you're giving them a follow. Make sure that you're gifting them. And I know a lot of people have their pay links in the Linktree in their bios, or at the very least in their bios. Please stop in and show them some love as well. Don't just focus on me. Please make sure that if you are enjoying any of these wonderful people up here, please, please, please make sure you're taking care of them as well. Please, please, please. All right. So I'm going to do something a little bit different, and I'm just going to open it up, right? No questions, no actual, like, it has to be you, has to be you, has to be you. I just want to start here. And the two people that I know for a fact that I want to hear from to start this topic off, but then I do want to hear from like everyone else because it's going to wrap in so much. But Kobe, Swan, rock, paper, scissors. I don't care who goes first. If you guys want a Russian bowl or whatever, I want to talk about the diaspora wars and the actual the erasure of Black identity, and basically saying that you're not Black enough, you're not from here, you're not marginalized like Black people. Like, I want to get into that. I don't care which one of you start, but you guys got the floor. And no holds barred.
Can start. Yeah, Swan can start.
She said you. She said you go first in the chat.
Oh, wow. Okay. Ciao. Anyways. I think what's to me, what's very, very frustrating in this whole conversation is the erasure. I think the erasure of history of how Black people on a global scale have been suffering. It makes it seem as if Black people, even on the continent, were active participants in our own colonization and our own enslavement and own unaliving. And it's just completely erasure of like flattens the identity of people. And I think what to me, which is violence, by the way, it is violent to erase a person's identity. It is violent to erase a person's histories and experiences, right? Which to me, what is very frustrating is, like, you can never achieve liberation if you view your story in fragments, right? And if you view all of these things that are happening as just isolated incidents, instead of understanding that your position within the system, and understanding that this is a global apartheid system that has been implemented by European colonialism. And that's what's so frustrating to me, is that when people are not internationalists, right? When people are not thinking globally and acting locally, they're ultimately then becoming an active vehicle of their own marginalization, right? And because you will never, ever be able, how do I explain this? It's like, let's do this for the skincare girlies, okay? It's like when you're focusing on your skincare, right? And then you only use eye cream, thinking that eye cream is going to save you for everything, right? Instead of, hold on, this makes sense in my head. Instead of instead of actively using a multifaceted approach to get good skin. So you feed yourself the nutrients, you sleep well, you put like moisturizer all over your face. You have like a different level step skincare routine, right? In order to kind of achieve your end goal, your overall goal. You can't do targeted treatments. You have to do all of it or none of it, right? And that is how fighting for liberation is, right? In that you either have to look at the system as a whole and try to have a multifaceted approach, because you will never ever be able to have a targeted approach, right? And this is precisely why I'm saying that this is a psyop, that this is actively orchestrated. And the orchestrated part is that when people are too busy only focusing on themselves and pretending as if their experiences exist within an isolated incident, it also makes it easier for you to be blamed, right? It makes it easier for you to be blamed, because now if you're convincing other people, no, my issue is not connected to like a broader collective system. My issue is isolated. Now you got people telling you, well, the reason as to why you're experiencing that because you're a culture. You know, maybe the music you listen to is what's causing this. Maybe your culture is what's causing this. Maybe you should get educated. Maybe your parents are not raising you right. Maybe you're just lazy. Maybe you're just that. So it also, again, you're basically giving your oppressor more ammo to make it seem as if you are being oppressed because it's your fault. There's something wrong with you, and that is why it's happening to uniquely you. But if you understand, right? For me, if I were a Black person who was born in Brazil, I would have probably been one of those Afro-Brazilian youth who gets unalived every 23 minutes. If I were born in Mexico, I would have been one of those Afro-Mexicans who gets unalived. If I were born in the US, I could have been a Sandra Bland, right? My father could have been a George Floyd. My brother could have been an Ahmaud Arbery. If I was born in Korea, I could have been a Han Hyun-min. If I was born in, if I'm Germany, you could have been a Lorenzo, right? Because there was a 21-year-old Afro-German kid who was unalived by the police, shot 5 times a couple months ago. But a lot of people don't know. Oh, trigger warning. Sorry. Yeah, my bad. I'm so sorry. So, and if I were born in Africa, right? I could have been like one of one of my people who are somewhere, trigger warning, violence, what's called violence. I could have been enslaved somewhere in Libya. Yeah. Right? So if I can have all these experiences based on my geographic location, it means that this is beyond me. This is beyond me. This is beyond my direct community. This has to do with the global system. And unless people develop that Black consciousness, I think we're just going to be lost.
Yeah. I completely agree. Absolutely. Also, I want to say that my wife, like just a couple of years ago, just got me to start using the special face lotion stuff or whatever. So like, that's all I know about the like face care stuff. Swan.
Yes, sorry. Oh, I did not expect to be emotional. Oh, I don't know what it is. Conversation is testing my gangster. No, I'm just playing. So I think it gets really painful when you take a look at our current circumstances. And the reason why I say that is because I think about like the civil rights movement and how we didn't see this level of xenophobia. As a matter of fact, what you saw was Black people like standing in solidarity with each other globally. We don't know about these. I know we don't know enough about this, and that's on purpose. That's by design, right? But if you do take the time to do your research, you will find that Black people globally were standing in solidarity with each other. Same thing with Black Lives Matter protests. I know that in the Caribbean, there were a lot of people that had, although not subjected to the same type of like police brutality as here, things may differ in their own country, but they still stood in solidarity, right? And they still had their protests, right? And that was directly connected to what we were experiencing here. I think the problem is that during the civil rights movement, right? And the people that grew up during that era, they witnessed everything that happened prior to. So everything was very real for them. And I think the problem here right now is that there's a separation in terms of, you know, they may not have necessarily like seen these things, right? So they may not understand the weight of these things. That in addition to the internet, I was just going to take like in a different direction, right? The internet is really where FBA, at least for me personally, where I was first introduced to them. I know that they're really big on Twitter. I've never really like engaged with them on that app, but I've heard a lot about them being huge on Twitter. But like even outside of FBA, I think that there are so many things and so much information that we've been taking in for years online that have really like fueled and perpetuated this division all across the diaspora and even division on the continent of Africa, which is a problem. It's something that we have to like undo ASAP. It's something that we have to, it just has to be fixed. Otherwise, it's going to be to our detriment. White supremacy, our oppressor, is always going to benefit when Black people are arguing with each other, when Black people are in conflict with each other. A lot of times I even hear them talking about like reparations and things like that. And when I talk about or think about reparations, there is not 1 ounce of me that would even think to say, well, this group doesn't deserve it because of this. That group deserves it because of that, right? Every Black person with air in their chest deserves reparations. And that reparations should also include the experiences of every Black person that has been subjected to white supremacy globally and historically. But combating all of these things, I think it's a tall task. It's really frustrating. I know for me, I think that's why I'm so emotional, is because we know what's causing the division, but there are people that don't understand why the division exists. And, you know, that in addition to us not having access to our history, I think is what the issue is. And the last thing I'll say is so this is something I came up with not too long ago, listening to a discussion, a live discussion where they were talking about Sudanese people who grew up in Sudan and then people who were born like in the West, right? And them trying to figure out how they can go about fixing or helping the people in their country. And how like Sudanese people were born in the West, how they, you know, some of them, not all, kind of take on this like elitist mentality. And then when they go back home, they say, well, I know what's better because I have access to, you know, this, that, and the third. But in reality, they don't. Like, yes, they have access to things, but they don't know what's better because they've never grown up there and they didn't experience it. So I think what we have to remember, and this is just something I'm going to continue to say going forward, is every single Black person all across the Black diaspora and on the continent of Africa will be a master of their own experience, but they must be a student to others. And if you approach these discussions in that way, right, then you have a person who lived in this country and dealt with white supremacy in this particular way, and another person who is in another place that has dealt with white supremacy in their particular way. And I think this ties into Covey's example, talking about your multifaceted skin routine, is that now, right, we get a bigger understanding or a better understanding or more thorough understanding of how to, you know, just reject and obliterate our oppressor overall. So I'm gonna say it one more time. Every Black person all across the diaspora and on the continent of Africa is a master of their own experiences, and they must be a student to others. And I'll just say that.
Can I thank you, Swan. Can I show something, by the way? I'm so sorry, Santana.
Yeah, did you see what I replied to you? Check that out. You let me know. I mean, either way, I'm good. I just didn't know. Also, I thought Swan, I thought she was going to say something about skincare again, and I was going to be lost. Athena,
I can show it on my box.
Okay.
Yeah, I can show it on my box.
Yeah.
So Yeah, because of the panel, exactly. I can just show it on my box. So we have to also, I wanted to focus on the utility of it, right? So this was an article that was released by the Times of Israel in January. So it says here, Africa must fragment South Africa first. Now, the guy who wrote this is a diaspora special envoy at the African Union. His name is Grant Gochin, right? He's Lithuanian. He's a Lithuanian Israeli man. And so there is a utility to demonizing and stigmatizing Blackness as well, right? And that utility is to justify exploiting Black bodies and Black resources and Black lands, right? And so when I say it's a psyop, it's not just for feelings, or it's not just for, because I don't know, like all these Western agencies just just feel like doing it. No, they have a specific utility to do it. The reason as to why Blackness in the diaspora, especially, is demonized, active in these destabilization of displaced Africans is happening, is to then also justify the exploitation of their homelands, right? Yeah. So, and this is something they're discussing, right? They're discussing, like, you have a Times of Israel article talking about this so openly, about the need for Africa to fragment. And they claim that the need for fragmentation is for stability, when that's not the case, of course, right? That's not what they want. But just wanted to show that, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So really quick, guys, W's in the chat for Corey. Corey, thank you so much for the 5. I see. I got it. We're good. And also W's in the chat for Michael for the $20. It's pronounced Michelle. Michelle, not Michael. Michelle. Sorry, Michelle. W's in the chat. Thank you so much for the $20 donation, saying I'm learning to speak up for myself because of Kobe. Please just don't bully me like her. Like, she is. Anyway, W's in the chat. Thank you so much for the Michelle, not Michelle.
Michelle, sorry.
Me. Yeah, get it right. Michelle. And say, can you split that with Kobe? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. W's in the chat. Thank you so much for that 20. Guys, if anyone else like to support the live, you can do so. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, pay links and links are in the bio. Santana speaks for you. If you're over on YouTube, you can send a super chat. It supports what we do here on late nights and allows us to continue to host these spaces and lives. Now, one thing that I want to call out, W's in the chat, Swan. W's in the chat, Swan. One thing that I was just about to say, and we're going to keep passing around. I want everyone to have an opportunity to speak and, just be able to talk. But we have someone super special up on the panel right now. We got Shawn. And with Shawn being up here, I want everyone to know that today is Shawn's birthday. Yes. Today is Shawn's birthday, and Shawn decided to come and spend her birthday with us. You guys know what that means. Since today is Shawn's birthday, we need to make sure that we are taking care of Shawn. So I want to make sure that everyone is sending gifts, sending love, hitting Shawn's pay links. Watch my legs. Not my legs, but that's Shawn's pay links. Watch my legs. Please make sure that we are showing Shawn some love, because it is Shawn's birthday, and you guys know what we do every single time there's a birthday. Now, my wife kind of said, I don't want to hear that, but you know what? We're going to do it, because you know how I do. Shawn, guess what? Hey, W's in the chat for Shawn. W's in the chat for Shawn. Let's go. Now,
hey, W. Was that foundational Black American Curtis Jackson?
That absolutely was.
Was that descendant of American slaves, Curtis Jackson?
That was. Listen. Now, one other thing. We haven't had the opportunity to do this in a while.
Chat.
Going off. It's Philip. W's in the chat for Philip.
Chat. God dang, chat.
Philip is going off. It's your birthday.
Oh my
Come on now.
God.
Come on now.
W's in the chat. Oh my God.
Listen. All right. Now, we haven't had an opportunity to do this in a while, and I'm so excited that we're going to be able to do this right now. I need everyone on the panel to come off of mute, and we're going to sing happy birthday to Shawn.
I was gonna say.
Oh no! Don't do that! Don't do that!
Yep. Nope.
No!
This is a late nights tradition. You guys know we've been doing this as long as I've been doing late nights. This is how we do it. W's in the chat for Philip. Let's go. You guys know that this is how we do it on late nights. And yes, I understand what I'm saying when I say everybody come on. Yes, I know what this is going to sound like. Yes, we are all going to come off of mute at the same time and sing happy birthday. Now, I said this was a Black AF conversation, right?
Oh, you gonna have.
So that means
Philip.
That means not only are we all going to come off and sing happy birthday to Shawn at the same time, but we are doing the Black version of happy birthday. And if you don't know it, I will be judging you, Kobe. If you don't know it, you will be judged. Get up here then, Ari. Where are you at?
The Stevie Wonder version.
Listen.
I can sing a soulful version, like I sing to everybody else on this app.
Listen.
Shawn, you.
I will judge you
You
all.
let me sing to you, Shawn?
I'm going to judge you all if you don't know the Black version of happy birthday.
Happy birthday to you.
Okay, listen. Kobe just passed. I thought Kobe wasn't gonna know it. All right.
Oh,
You guys
wait,
ready?
you're talking to me?
Yeah, I threw a little shade.
Chill. Wow, now you pushing my blackness.
All right.
Can't believe Philip, by the way. Thank you very much.
You guys ready? Everybody off mute. You ready? We got to sing happy birthday to Shawn. Ready? Everybody off mute. 1, 2, 3, go. Happy birthday to ya. Happy birthday to ya. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to ya.
Oh my goodness.
Let's go, Philip.
W-Ari. Wait, who
That's insane.
Wait.
Y'all are insane.
Somebody said, none of you quit your day jobs.
Wait, I want to know who is singing with me all the way through. Was it you, Ari? Were you singing with me all the way through?
Somebody went all the way to the end.
Listen, that was me. Yes. Listen, if there's
W-Ari.
one thing I didn't grow up like deeply in Black culture. But one thing I was taught was the Black happy birthday song. Okay. Thank you.
Oh, that's why you was like, I want to come up. Okay.
I got this. I know this one. I
know this one.
Spades, but I knew this one.
Okay. I guess all you can keep your Black cards for now. Anywho, guys, continue to show love to Shawn. Shawn is a national treasure, someone that we love dearly, a vital part of our community, a bully at times, but only when necessary. And Shawn, I love you so much. Happy birthday. I hope you've enjoyed your day. And I just want to make sure that we continue to show you a bunch of love while you're up here.
I mean, y'all been blessing me all day. Y'all made the day so special. So dead ass. And to end it off on this convo,
Yeah.
Mwah.
Yeah. All right. So let's keep it moving. I want to open it up to everybody. I want to make sure people have time. Peach, floor is yours. Nichelle, Zara, and then we'll just keep it moving. So Peach, you got it. Wherever you want to take it.
Okay. Can you guys hear me okay?
I can.
It's kind of muffled.
Sorry. Am I better now?
Yes.
Sorry.
Yes.
Sorry. I'm not, I need to learn how to speak up more, but thank you. So I think the thing that really stuck with me that Thina said and Swan was kind of approaching was this idea of when I think about Black Americans, I think about us being sort of removed from like a globalized view of the diaspora. Like a lot of us don't know, and Kovi's analogy was perfect. It was beautiful, talking about using eye cream. And I asked her, I said, well, I think the most important thing to me is understanding how many of us around the world are only ever told that there is eye cream. And beyond that, I think it's really important to recognize that the existence of other skincare products is actually actively hidden away from us. And so it takes a huge amount of work and a huge amount of self-discovery and battling against what happens when you buck the system. I don't know how many of you growing up, Black American had people tell you that you were getting in too deep or you were being too Afrocentric or like, I'm going to start wearing dashikis and stuff and trying to shame you for learning about your Blackness. I really believe that's a really deep part of growing up Black American. Like I am actually very ashamed because you guys all knew that song. I don't know that song, right? But I grew up, I was born and raised in a white Christian fundamentalist cult. I don't know that, right? And that's gotta be okay. At some point we have to tell each other it's okay that you don't know X, Y, and Z. It's okay because I know X, Y, and Z. And you might know A, B, and C, and I don't know that. And unless we can figure out a way to, I think, be kinder to one another and extend as much grace and patience as we possibly can to one another without devolving into name calling and minimizing and dehumanizing and condescending to each other because we don't have the same knowledge. If we learn to sort of collaborate with each other and take another person's knowledge without ego, because it's a huge deal. Is shutting down your fucking ego and saying, "Oh, I'm sorry, Santana. I'm sorry."
It is late nights. It is late nights.
Yeah, no cursing. I'm sorry. So shutting down your ego and saying, you know what? It's okay that I don't know everything. I don't know everything, and y'all got to teach me because I'm trying my best. And I think once we learn how to do that, once we learn how to say, I don't know everything, and what I do know, let's keep it a buck. And I'm gonna shut up because I don't want to do too much talking. But I do want to say, once we do know, I think is most important for us to extend that grace that wasn't extended to us when we were coming up. To say to folks younger than us who are searching, we're not going to shame you for wanting to know your Blackness, wanting to know your roots, wanting to know where you come from. And I feel like that's a really big part that's missed out on, that we are, I think, around the world starved of how to love our Blackness, because that is how whiteness weaponizes us against each other, from getting to know each other and being part of a functioning diaspora of people. And I do think the final thing I want to say is it reminds me, I don't know if y'all saw, and I understand that this is a Black AF conversation, but I do want to use this quote because I think that it says a lot. So if anybody else loves Bad Bunny, because I love Bad Bunny did an interview, and a white man asked him, he said, Do you feel bad that your music is a particular dialect of Spanish, knowing that people who don't speak that dialect are going to miss out on the majority of your music? And he immediately said, absolutely not. He said, my music is for us, because he knew what it was to exist in a world that's taken everything it can take away from you, and that there's something that is okay about it being a closed practice, like we talk about hoodoo, like we talk about our culture traditions. It's okay for us to close ranks around each other and learn that, you know what, the rest of the world may not know what we know, but that's okay. It's okay if they miss out, because we're building something together. I don't think we can get to that space until we really unpack a lot more. But I know I'm running my mouth, so I'm gonna mute up, but I appreciate you letting me come.
All good. Also, Peach, I just want to let you know, I stole one of your sayings, but I gave you credit. Like I don't just, colonize. I always say I got it from Peach. Listen, I credited you, but I was talking about how like it's so now I'm gonna mess it up now, but how it's such a wonderful thing to be able to admit that you don't know something, because then you get to go on the journey of like learning. I thought that was like such an amazing quote, and I had to share that out. Nichelle, the floor is yours.
Dang it, I knew you were going to come to me, and now I'm really, really emotional right now. Peach, you really hit the nail on the head. That's something I rarely talk about. And somebody put it in the chat about discovering our Blackness. I don't think that's talked about enough. I grew up exactly like you did. I was telling somebody the other day I didn't get connected per se to to Black culture as we know it until college, because of just where my parents had me in school, the places that I grew up, the churches that I was in, and so that hits really deep. I do think that people who are definitely on this app, as we get exposure to one another, I liked what you said about not shaming each other. I think that has a lot. There's so many pain points. There are beautiful parts too, but there's so many pain points to the Black experience that if we listened to each other and gave grace to each other, that maybe we could understand, to Covey's point, to so many other people's points on the panel, that there is a connection there. I think the pain points, from what I'm seeing, is causing people to isolate. And while I may not agree with how that gets articulated, I don't agree in, there's a saying, hurt people, turn around and hurt people, right? I see that happening a lot on this app. I see it happening, in the real world. And it's painful to watch. It's painful to watch. You're always, and then to have people either in the diaspora, question, like, how Black are you? That is the most painful thing I've had to see. When I listen into, I popped into some of these FBA lives, right? And it's an immediate, how far back do you go? The questioning, and like, I think Swan has said this multiple times about using the tools of white supremacy, but you think that you're doing it in a way that supports the non-erasure of Black culture, and it's just not true. That is heartbreaking. That is heartbreaking to see Black people questioning how Black you are. That hits home for me, right? It's a constant balance. It's a constant teetering of, am I Black enough? Am I not Black enough? Did I know the songs? Do I know how to play spades? Do I know how to do all these things? Do I know the line dances? Do I know how to cook collard greens? No, you don't. You're not Black enough. We're doing it to ourselves. We're doing it to ourselves. And then when we have conversations in mixed company, don't get me started on that, right? Now we give other people the tools to weaponize against us. And that's wrong too. I think that we all have a responsibility to try to not only expose it and talk about it, but come up with solutions as to how to combat that, because we're literally destroying ourselves. So Peach, you really hit home for me. And I'm with you 1000% with how we grew up. 1000%. Not talked about enough.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you, Nichelle. Zara, floor is yours.
Thank you. Hearing the last two, it makes me think about the damage as a construct of miscegenation. The idea that there is a mixing and the forced mixing, as it more relates to the book, The History of White People. There were European philosophers that were actually worried about white people in the States and their psychology and the development of their culture because of their adjacent and their practice of slavery, not because they felt that slavery was amoral, but because they worried about the psychological, social macro effect it would have on the community. And when we reflect on FBA, I think about this feminist critique of like how when you are under the male gaze enters inside you. And so even when in the absence of other people, you are still scrutinizing your body, your presentation, your movements, and your quote unquote womanly grace or not by under that male gaze. And so when we're having this, to translate it back to race, with this miscegenation, this forcible bringing, and the key word being a force, what is the internalized white gaze, to have a loose translation for now, that is within Black people across the globe, of course, but in this case, because we're talking about FBA, within the United States? Because when I think about the formation of race as a construct, we think about how it was nation states tied to blood. And what's interesting is that through FBA, I'm seeing a sort of Black created rebirth of some sort of association of nation construct with behavior. That is to say that ethnicity or nationality passes down conduct, and that is to say that there's like a original sin of not being Black American, right? Because if you're not Black American enough, it means you didn't have the right pedigree, and to not have the right pedigree means you have the certain temperaments and things that you can never understand to be properly Black. And so that's a strange, like traumatically Black created inverse of the white construct. Oh, French people behave this way. Oh, German people behave this way. But now we have inverted it through the Black brain, the Black nervous system, the Black zeitgeist, and then made this through the FBA lens. And I wanted to additionally say that in terms of being Black enough or not, at least within my own experience being raised in a white household myself, white people themselves also monitor who is Black enough or not. What's very interesting in my anecdotal experience, at least, is that actually in my household, I had more encouragement and ability to express myself as a transgender person than I was as a Black person. As a transgender person, I was capable of expressing my need. Now, of course, I still face hardship with it and some shame, but there was never a blockage or a outright harm or refusal of me entirety as a person. I actually had easier capacity to still be incorporated into the family, but it's actually, hello?
Yeah.
Am I still here?
Yep.
Oh, okay. My box is not green anymore. Strange, sorry. But as I began to educate myself more in Blackness within this white household and white family, that is where the separation began to get to the point my own birther actually said to me, what would I know about being Black? So they do have their own assumptions about who is Black enough. It's not just within FBA spaces, but white people themselves also monitor if you pass the Black acceptability limit.
Right. Are you Black enough? Yeah.
Right.
That
right.
whole
and
premise.
so
Yeah.
yes. And so it's just interesting how much even whiteness wants to monitor, despite consuming or even producing, giving birth to Black people, how they still want to monitor who's within and without the categories, even when that lies beneath a liberal veneer that tries to assume or say otherwise. And so the other thing was talked about was like pain points. It's interesting for me. I found that pain has led me to studying more about Blackness and embracing Blackness, because the constant othering as someone not gender presenting as assigned SMEX at birth, and I don't know if I can say that word, sorry. And so I TikTok shopped it. And as someone that was then caught between racial categories within white spaces, it was actually pain that forced me away from both the whiteness and discovering and coming out and being and transitioning to myself. So sometimes I do find that the pain is a desperate cry going a different direction.
Mm-hmm.
But I never, and the final thing I guess I'll say on top of that, I'm sorry, is it's interesting embracing your Blackness and then finding that within that it is also fractured.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Can I add something before I forget really quick, Santana?
Yeah,
It
really
just made me
quick.
think of something really quick. I put this in the chat. All of these FBA talk and the how Black are you, it just made me remember, if anybody's old enough to remember brown paper bag tests.
Yep.
Right? The talented 10th, the blue vein test,
Yep.
flipping your wrist over. Are you light enough? Are you Black enough? Are you brown enough?
Yeah, I know that one.
Yeah, super painful, super painful. I'm old enough to actually remember, not the talented 10th, obviously, but the brown paper bag test for sure, and the blue vein test. That's what it's giving, what FBA is giving when they want to quantify, are you Black American enough, right? It's really, really sad.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Yeah, Athena, for sure. Shawn, I want to give you the floor. Before I do, really quickly, because I got something for you. Sorry, why did I do that? W's in the chat for Candace. Candace sent a $10 donation, said, can you send this to Queen Commissar? I always mess that up. Commissary? Commissioner. I'm just gonna call you Commissioner. Commissioner Shawn. Please, because my Venmo doesn't work. From Mr. and Mrs. Torres. Did you say something, Commissioner Shawn?
I was trying to correct you, but you made me laugh.
No, because I made a decision. No, it's commissioner. Like, you're the commissioner of the league. I told you we've already made a decision. You're going to be the president. Also, Corey sent this earlier, and I didn't realize that I had to read this. It said, Shawn is in the request. Does she want to be in the room where it happens? The room where it happens.
Bro, you know what's crazy is I got a W because Corey sent me a Vimo and said, happy to see you in the room where it happens.
The room where it happens.
She's satisfied with all the gifts. She's absolutely satisfied.
She'll never be satisfied. Come on now. Also, that was in the chat for Gene for the one. Guys, if anyone, I'm going to give you the floor, Shawn, but guys, please remember today's Shawn's birthday. So while Shawn is getting the floor, please continue to show Shawn a ton of love. Continue to shower Shawn with gifts. Make sure you hit that follow button and make sure you hit those pay links. All good, Athena. All right, go ahead, Shawn.
Well, that's one W. And then Brooks sent $1, said happy birthday to the CA. And then Anjan?
Just say it however you feel. That's what I do.
I think it's Anjan said happy birthday, Santana, to the CA. I appreciate y'all so much. I appreciate y'all for real. I'm gonna just say to the panel, and now to let some things slide. Pete said "in too deep" twice, and I ain't say nothing. And then somebody said "it's in you," and I let that go. I ain't gonna let too many more go now. I better throw some pauses out here.
No pause.
Anyway, the Black diaspora conversation for me as a Black nationalist, I'm a Black nationalist Pan-Africanist. And I run this topic that says if you're not Pan-African, you're anti-Black. And I have people come up and they try and argue against it and whatever else. I haven't had any FBAs yet because they're scared. But like the FBA conversation to me is something that was, it actually took me by surprise, seeing as how I thought that where we were in the conversation for Black people was a conversation about how to properly apply Pan-African praxis so that we can, move forward towards like revolutionary and liberatory action. But where we are again is back in 2014, I guess we all on Tumblr right now, and it's 2014, and we yelling at each other about like, what's your heritage and all that kind of shit. And so for me, I'm just
we're still on late nights. Well, you know what? Fuck it. It's your birthday.
My
No, fuck it. It's your birthday.
All that stuff.
It's your birthday. No, fuck that. It's your birthday. You got it. This is the one time I'll let you do it. Whatever. It's your birthday.
Mama Jones is watching.
Fuck it. It's your birthday. I'll take the L. I will take the fussing.
Hey, sorry, Mama Jones. But no, it's because this same conversation was happening way back over 10 years ago, and I thought it was settled because what ended up happening is that a lot of the Black people within the diaspora and within the U.S. In particular had decided that as a part of the diaspora have decided like this is stupid. We don't want to talk about this anymore. This is dumb. We want to move into like socialism, and we want to start doing socialist stuff. And we started picking up socialist texts and started applying like socialist labels to our names, and a lot of us became Pan-African and all that other stuff. Kwame Ture got really, really popular. I don't know if y'all remember it, but I remember it like it was yesterday. We started championing Gaddafi. It was the whole thing. And then I guess Steve Bannon put forward a plan to make Black men vote conservative and move to the right. And all of a sudden, it became a whole thing to talk about the heritage again and ask people what their heritage is and if they're an immigrant and do they belong in the United States and all of this other stuff. I grew up in a predominantly Black area. I grew up in DC. It's called literally DC, called Chocolate City. They call it Chocolate City. Because there's so many Black people. And Santana just came here, by the way, y'all. And it's my birthday week, and Santana did not see me when he came out here.
No, okay,
I just wanted to point that out.
No, it's Solid's fault. It's Solid's fault. Listen. I text Solid like early in the morning, and Solid didn't get back until like later in the day. And by the time that he got back, I was trying to get ready, and I had a flight and all that. So that one's on Solid. Talk to Solid about that.
He probably had work. He don't have his phone.
Nope, he was off. Right. He was just asleep. He texted me back. He was like, "Oh, I'm asleep." Yep.
Oh boy, yep, the way I'm Solid. Not gonna let him live this down.
Yep, he was just asleep.
He was asleep.
Also, the traffic in DC sucks. So bad.
Traffic in DC is the worst. Traffic in DC is the worst. State Farm did this has nothing to do with Black people, but State Farm did a survey. I don't know if it's a survey, but they analyzed all their data, and they showed that the worst drivers are actually in DC. So that's actually a thing. But yeah. Aside from that, I grew up in a predominantly Black area, so like all of the Black customs and all of these other things, I lean very heavily into. I'm very heavy on reclamation of things. I call myself, for all of my ADOS people out there who are also ADOS like me, I call myself an Akata Marxist, and I'm conceptualizing Akata Marxism because of the term Akata utilized for Black people, especially in the United States, the Yoruba word. When it comes to me being an Akata Marxist, this is about like more so like more so me personally, the conceptualization of it is we're in on the joke kind of thing, and we're laughing with you and you're not laughing at us kind of thing. I think that a lot of FBAs do obviously have some anger for very valid reasons. The misplacement of Black people, the colonialism, the neocolonialism that happens within the Black community, with figureheads like with Black billionaires. I'm gonna say some names. Can I say some names? I'm gonna say with Sean Puffy Combs, with your boy Sean Carter, Jay-Z, with Beyonce Knowles, and the people, and even people who go as far as like some of the heroes that we have quote unquote had in the last couple of years, like Will Smith, who are also themselves descendants of American slaves, but just believe that Black people just have illiteracy when it comes to finances, and say that if Black people, especially FBAs, Tyler Perry is a big one, say that FBAs, if we could just get our money together, we'll be good. And that shit is not fucking true. There is no liberation in capitalism. So there could be no liberation in Black capitalism. As a matter of fact, I just call Black capitalism nigga capitalism. I call Black capitalists nigga imperialists. Like that's just what I call them. Like, you niggas is just out here trying to exploit other Black people for profit. And that's exactly what you've been able to do. And now you're telling Black people who you've exploited this entire time, just get better jobs. Nuts to me. Absolutely insane. Like, anyway, I'm going on a tangent, but I do think that leaning heavily into linguistic reclamation, all of the stereotypes that people tend to have towards us when it comes to like the things that we should be doing that will actually tear down the system, especially when it comes to crime. We need to be doing more crime. We need to go out there and get them numbers. We putting up rookie numbers on the board. We need to dismantle this system inside and out. It needs to be gone completely and totally. There is no liberation for Black people within this system. And anything that forces Black people to adhere to this system is oppression to Black people. The primitive accumulation for capital and capitalism was Black bodies. That was the first capital that was mortgaged within capitalism. That is what they utilized in order to justify the wars that they went up against imperial, agrarian, feudalist societies. The reason as to why the United States broke away from England was because they were being taxed on their slave crops. Black bodies were the primitive accumulation of capitalism. Every time you participate within capitalism and validate the system of capitalism, you devalidate and dehumanize Black people. There is no in between. And every time you fall for some propaganda campaign that is super extremely right wing to say that other Black people are not being exploited by capitalism, and they are also not a part of the primitive accumulation of capital and the imperial cores utilizing their natural resources to build up the imperial cores in underdeveloped Black nations, you are saying that the oppression of Black people, either in the homeland of Africa or throughout the diaspora, did not go through shit. And that is wild to me. I'm gonna hop off my soapbox now, but that's just the start of it.
I just want to say that I feel like you weaponized the fact that it was your birthday and took advantage of all the words. I'm gonna let it slide, but I'm not gonna forget. Ari,
I'll take it. I'll take what I can get.
Yeah. Ari, the floor is yours.
Thank you. So I just want to, I wasn't here for the whole conversation, so it's already been said. I apologize.
No, you're fine. Wherever you want to take it. Don't, it's all you.
One thing I want to remind us is the thing that makes us Black is not culture, right? And let's make that very clear overall, right? Because even just being, I currently live in the South, but I grew up a Jersey fucking girl. Or sorry, Jersey girl.
It's not your, I was about to say, it's not your birthday, Ari.
Sorry. Being in Jersey, I do got a potty mouth. My bad, censoring. I grew up in Jersey, right? Jersey, Black culture in Jersey is different than Black culture in the South, right? But that's still, people born in New Jersey, people born in Texas still can be FBA, right? But those are two different Black cultures right there. right? What makes us Black is the collective experience of white supremacy, and that exists all throughout the diaspora. Period, point blank, right? So even just acknowledging your Blackness, you are acknowledging that we have a shared experience of white supremacy, right? But we also need to acknowledge the different ways we are complacent and complicit within those white supremacist actions. And I will say this, one thing that breaks my heart is if we want to see the liberation of Black people, even if you want it for selfish reasons, even if you just want to see yourself liberated, we do have an unfair burden, right? Where we cannot do anti-Blackness. We can't. So saying things that perpetuate anti-Blackness, we have this unfair burden. Fat phobia, homophobia, all those isms, xenophobia, all rooted in anti-Blackness, right? And it is really hypocritical to say that you want to see the liberation of Black people, but then you're performing anti-Blackness, period, point blank, right? So I understand and I see the unfair burden, but if we want to see the liberation of Black people, we can't do it. What I also want to acknowledge is that being Black and connecting with your Blackness is not easy at all. I had to go to therapy. That's my own personal experience. I had to go to therapy to understand what being Black meant to me, right? I grew up in a heavily Puerto Rican household, and shout out to Shawn for sharing this video. She just shared it out, and I saw it about how a Black Puerto Rican woman from Luisa, which has a heavy Black population on the island of Puerto Rico, was being denied her Blackness, right? That she was not Black, she was Puerto Rican. And that was an experience I had experienced my entire life. And so I did not know what being Black meant. I had to go to therapy to connect with that. So dismissing people's Blackness and acting like that does not cause trauma, right? Connecting with your own Blackness, right? That is important. And it is not something that happens overnight. People do have to go to therapy for these things and figure out what being Black means to them. So I do feel like a lot of the conversation is deeply rooted in those traumas that we need to unpack within ourselves and connect with our own Blackness so that you are not dismissing others. I am so comfortable and secure in my Blackness, right? That one, no one can take it away from me. And two, I will not invalidate someone else's just to validate my own Blackness. That's not happening. I don't need to prove myself by invalidating and snatching someone else's Blackness. Right? So these are things we need to do and recognize, because post-traumatic slave syndrome comes in multiple forms. It's not just in terms of laugh barrels and things like that. That comes from psychological, emotional trauma as well, right? And consisting need to validate your Blackness, right? And having your Blackness dismissed in other ways. That's what white people do, right? And I hope we're not out here doing white people shit, but I do see a lot of white people shit happening here.
Again, Ari.
Sorry.
I'm not going to hear it from my mom about both of you.
Sorry. A lot of white people stuff happening, right? You are doing the job of your oppressors for them. That's what white people want. That's what the overtly racist wants. They're sitting and laughing while you're dismissing other people's Blackness. We cannot do it. We have an unfair burden, right? And so I think it's important people take the time, sit with their Blackness, connect with it, find what makes them Black, right? Because to the same thing that Peach said, I didn't know a lot of things that a lot of people were telling me were Black, right? I knew the happy birthday song. That's the one thing I did know. But I didn't play spades for the first time till college. I didn't know about God is good and the response to that till I got on TikTok. I didn't know those things. But I learned that I am Black, but my Black culture looks a little different. It looks like Puerto Rican Black culture. It looks like bomba, and look like pernil and the cookouts and dominoes and things like that we play on the island. And that is Black culture. That's why a lot of people were saying, oh, the Super Bowl was not Black. Yes, it was. There was a lot of Blackness in that Super Bowl. But y'all just didn't see it because it was not Black culture that connects with you. And that's okay, because Black culture looks different everywhere, even within the United States. Like I said, Black culture in the South looks different than Black culture in the Northeast. And I land.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. There was one thing that I'll hold it. Zion, floor is yours.
Thank you. Yeah, and I wanted to add on to that, being Afro-Latino myself. The experiences are not that different in the United States as Black Americans try to like paint them out to be. It's really not. Not only with the culture, again, like Ari said, like the Super Bowl was hella Black. Like that was Afro-Latino culture right there. That's not white Latino culture. That's Afro-Latino. The salsa, the reggaeton, that's Black people right there, you know. But even then, even in Latino America, there's hella racism with Latinos, and there's racial hierarchies in Latino America as well. Even in Haiti, where I'm from, where it's considered to be like one of the blackest countries in Latino America, there is still systems of white supremacy in Haiti. There's white Haitians who are rich, who still to this day enslave Black Haitians and continue it to this day. Like this is something that we are operating on in Latino America the same way it operates in the United States. Haiti and the Dominican Republic both has experienced Black codes, Jim Crow laws, and the United States has occupied us. The relations are really not different at all.
Okay. All right. So I know there's a couple of people that want to say something, and then I'm just going to say this. So this was supposed to be, we changed the format to late nights where it's 2 hours, right? And we're already at 2.5 hours. So we're over what we were doing for late nights. And this was supposed to be just like a one night thing, but I feel like there's so much meat on the bone as far as this conversation, and even more so, there's so many people that haven't gotten to be able to join this conversation.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. There's so much what? There's so much
meat
what?
On the bone. I said what I said.
Yo, I said I'm not gonna let too many more of them slide.
What I said,
What?
and I meant what I said.
Chat.
We haven't sucked all the meat off the bone. There is still meat on the bone.
Wait, you ain't say all that. Wow.
I said what I said. Anyway, with that being said, I checked with the powers that be, and I made an executive decision, and we're going to finish up this conversation for tonight with the people that we still have on here. But we're coming back tomorrow with the same conversation. We're going to finish this up. We're going to give it opportunity to let this conversation breathe. We're going to let it flesh out more. We're going to have more people. So just an FYI for all the people that were requesting up that didn't get an opportunity to get up here and talk about it, we're going to do it again tomorrow. For the people that's still here, if you guys want to come back tomorrow again as well and add more, we're going to actually continue to have it. Like, I just want to throw it out there. I'm not shutting it down. For the people that have the hands up, don't worry. I'm not shutting it down. I'm just letting you guys know that we made an executive decision, and we're going to do more of it tomorrow. We're going to make sure we get the whole thing. Kobe, you wanted to say something.
Yes, thank you. I do think it's a good idea to hold it tomorrow as well, by the way, because it's a very important conversation to be had.
It's too big not to.
I agree. I think when I was listening to Ari speak, there is a particular kind of frustration that comes not just from being unheard, but also from being overwritten, is what came to mind. And I feel like as a person, like as an East African, right, you grew up knowing that your whole region holds centuries of layered histories and empires and colonial encounters. And you realize that colonialism, it had different masks in different regions, and that African experiences are not a single narrative, but instead a constellation And yet within the global imagination, right, which has been overwhelmingly for the past couple of centuries shaped by the West, and then in the past century by American media, academia, and cultural production, Black history gets flattened to West Africa, to the transatlantic slave trade, to the Americas, and then like to the struggle for civil rights. And then that's it, right? Which that history is undeniably important, right? It is very necessary. It's powerful. It deserves its visibility. But the problem is that unintentionally, that centering has made like the Black experience hegemonic, right? So it just erases all the other Black experiences, right? So the experiences of East African histories with slavery, right? Because there was also slavery in East Africa, with which tied it to the Indian Ocean world, to Arab and Swahili trading networks, right? To the internal African dynamics. They rarely enter mainstream discourse, right? And all the colonial experiences under the British, under the Germans, the Italians, the way that people pretend as if Italians are like oppressed, victimized, marginalized people, when they were the destruction that they have caused in East Africa, right? The Italians introduced rinderpest infected cattle to Eritrea when they invaded it. And then that spread to the whole of East Africa and then the rest of Africa, and unalived 90% of African livestock. Massive amounts of famine happened, right? And that is not addressed, right? When we look at the Mau, like it feels like these colonial experiences with their own distinct forms of violence, of resistance, of the restructuring of society are treated as very peripheral. And if they're even acknowledged at all, because a lot of time they're not even acknowledged. But if they are acknowledged, they're treated just as peripheral, right? They're not central reference points within the global conversation about Black struggle. They exist at like the margins of it, if they even exist at all, because they don't exist at all, right? And I think this within itself is very isolating, right? Because this imbalance it is because of power. Power determines not only whose voices are heard, but also which histories become universalized. And because of American cultural dominance, it has globalized a particular narrative of Blackness, right? And in doing so, it has recentered Africa itself as like a backdrop rather than like this area or this like locus of like diverse histories, right? And so it creates a hierarchy of Blackness. Which Black people are at the top of the hierarchy? Which Black people's stories and voices need to be universalized? And which Black people are just in the periphery, right? And that's a very frustrating thing, right? Because then you have whole swaths of regions of stories that are missing from the conversation, missing from the narrative, right? And what it also makes it very, especially, I know I'm like going on a rant, but what makes it also extremely frustrating is that it also narrows solidarity that people could be having. Because when you have one narrative that dominates, then that narrative becomes a template against which all other Black experiences have to be measured. If a Black person from, like, let's say, Central Africa comes up and they go like, oh, I've experienced this and this and that. And then people go like, oh, but did you experience slavery? But did you experience this and that? Did you experience like Jim Crow? Which all of this is very important, by the way, right? Me saying this does not mean I'm saying, oh, like African American history doesn't have to be visible. It should be visible. But the problem is there's a danger of it making it the only visible narrative. That's the issue that I have, right? Yeah. So it leaves little room for any integration. So and to land like my plane with this, like I think there needs to be more space for different Black experiences. I think there needs to be more space
for the different uniforms that colonialism has worn on the African continent, and that Black identity within itself cannot be reduced to just one geography's experience.
Yeah. Okay, so last two, and then I got something special for the panel. So also, I want to call out Peach being anti-Black up here with that white hand that was raised. I'm gonna acknowledge you, Peach, because you, but that was anti-Black. Peach, the floor is yours.
I think Swan had her hand up if she wants to go first.
Either or.
No, you can go first. You can go first. It's fine.
Okay, thanks. I just, for me, I think the thing that's been illustrated most for me in this conversation is I think it's more solidified my view that what's necessary is grace and patience. Because for me, while my heart breaks, honestly, Dina, I'm sorry, I'm super emotional over the cattle thing. And I don't know why, but that just, people going hungry just breaks my heart. So anyway, I am super grateful for that. But when I think of where I exist as an individual within the diaspora, I am from a line of people who were forced to not be able to read that history and forcibly separated from that larger part of us. And that is still what we are living through. And so when you talk to the average Black American person, they are a descendant of that violence and that like deep separation, right? To where it's almost like if you ask, like, were you guys on here when Black Americans found out that there were Black Scottish people in Scotland and they were freaking out?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And they were like, there are Black people in Scotland. And all over the world, people were making videos and they were like, you guys, there are Black people everywhere. You have to know that for a lot of Black American people, that was their first time ever knowing that. It was the first time they'd ever heard of that there are Black people in Ireland, there are Black people in France. There are Black people everywhere. We are everywhere. And like, I don't know how better to express the depth of ignorance that we have been boiled in for generations since they started trafficking people from Africa to America to everywhere, because it wasn't just America, right? And so I'm so thankful for this conversation. Because through listening to you, Thina, through listening to Ari, through Zion when they were here, through listening to Nichelle, it has solidified for me that this is about grace and patience. And for me specifically, I don't want to center white people in any way when it comes to discovering the rest of the diaspora and what that holds for me and how I can support and how I can listen and lift people up and love. I don't want to talk about white people at all. I don't want to talk about whiteness. I understand that in America, much of who we are culturally has been formed as a response to whiteness, white supremacy, and the violence performed towards Black people in this country. I understand that. But there is, I think, a part of us that we have to get to a point where we can decenter them and instead center those stories that we don't know about and those histories that we don't know about in the countries where we exist and we thrive in beauty in the face of whiteness as well, in a different language or a different outfit. And so, and for those of y'all who are in the chat real quick, I'm gonna say this and then I'm gonna shut up. Y'all not gonna shame me for telling the truth. I am too old to be ashamed, honey. I'm gonna tell you what a lot of Black folks ain't gonna tell you. A lot of us didn't know.
A lot of us didn't know there's Black folks everywhere. A lot of us don't know a lot of history outside, because you got to also realize that except for the Great Migration in America, a lot of Black folks in America have never even left the city where they were born.
Mm-hmm.
And they sure haven't left the state. And it's a huge deal to leave the same time zone, baby.
Yep.
You look, I'm not shamed. Y'all not gonna shame me because I'm about to tell the truth. So I just am so thankful for this conversation, because it has really it's really resonated with me, and it's reinforced my commitment to extending grace and patience and love. So thank y'all. I appreciate y'all.
Absolutely. Listen, I know everyone wants to keep going. I'm gonna come to Swan, but this is gonna be it because we're almost an hour over. But like I said, because I got something else special for the panel that I want to do. So even if you still want to talk, just hold tight, just trust the process. And like I said, we are going to continue this conversation tomorrow. So this isn't it, but we're almost an hour over all the way. So, but just hold tight. Swan, floor is yours.
Okay, I just want to play this little recording real fast, okay?
Ghanaian President Mahama is trying to come over here to the United States of America and lay his voodoo African wreath on the gravesite of Black Americans in the United States of America to destiny swap with Black Americans.
When I tell you, I did not think that FBA would leave an app. When I tell you that I did not think they existed outside of Twitter, outside of TikTok and any other platform that they are on, but they are. They are, and they're gathering. I used to say when these conversations first came up, I would be like, okay, FBA, yeah, they're like, a small population of people that are just very loud online. No, they went to New York City. There was a protest that they had because President Mahama wanted to go and speak about and honor enslaved Africans. And it was not to take away from the experiences of African-American people in any way, shape, or form. It was to honor that. And somehow, some way, right, they're so radicalized that they genuinely think he was there to take the attention off of Black Americans from getting reparations and saying that he was trying to interfere with that. If you know your history and you understand how reparations works, then you would know that that's not something that he can do, right? People are, we have to continue talking about this. Sorry, because I'm so frustrated. I just looked this up, but we have to continue talking about this because this type of a mentality will be the end of us. It will be the end of us. I think for me, the last discussion that I had or conversation, debate, whatever, within a person who was FBA, I asked them like, what Black scholar, like, would condone this? Like, what Black scholar do you know that would condone this? And they can never give me a straight answer. Actually, the last time I asked someone that was FBA that question, he ran from the panel. He didn't even respond, right? And I think that it's really important that people understand that this really is our responsibility to make sure that this does not take over because they are organizing and they're outside now. I understand it is a weight, right? But the reality is that no one else is going to do it for us, right? If we want to continue to reject white supremacy, then we're going to have to understand that FBA is like the antithesis to that process. It's a problem. And I think that people also need to, not just learning about their history and their culture, like as an individual, but I do think it's important for people to read certain Black scholars. I'm not necessarily like, I don't know, what people know and what they don't know or whatever it is, whatever the case is. But it is like imperative that people read the works that have been put out there by Black scholars. We have to. Nobody else is going to educate us on these things. FBA organizing off app is scary to me and it is problematic to me, right? Because now this group who was positioning themselves to align with white power structures in hopes to get reparations, has now, I would say, put a barrier in progression for Black people. So yeah, it's imperative. Like I don't want to hear any Black person say, well, this is too much, or I don't want to do that. This is that and the third. Then that means you don't care about yourself. That means you don't value yourself and you don't value the people that look like you. It's imperative that we make sure we reject any form of white supremacy at all costs, all the time. And I'll end there.
All right. Listen, so again, I know there's still a lot to be said by a lot of people, and I understand that the conversation isn't done. I want to be very, very clear. The conversation isn't done. We will continue the conversation tomorrow evening. We're going to, like, it's too important to just say, like, we're going to hard stop here. But I want to do something. So this is for the people that's on the panel. This is special. So normally at the end of late nights, I'll go around the panel and I'm like, hey, what do you got? What do you want to talk about? And I give everybody a little bit of time to actually talk or say whatever they have to say, or there's an initiative or blah, 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 right? But again, like I said, we're already 46 minutes over and a brother's tired. But I felt like since we are here and we got a Black AF panel, I want to do something that's Black AF and kind of fun. So this is what we're going to do. Let me throw this up here. Oh, that's only on my screen. Okay, that's fine. All right. So this is what we're going to do. Going to start a timer. I'm going to go around the clock, panel. I have a Black trivia question. If you answer the Black trivia question correct within 5 seconds, you make it to the next round. If you don't get the question right within that 5 seconds, you're dropped. And your Black card is on the line. This is the Black Hunger Games. May the odds forever be in your favor. Peach, you're first.
This is racist.
Ready?
This is so diabolical. This is so diabolical.
Nope. Everybody else on mute. Peach, you ready?
Barely.
Okay. All right. I'm
legally blonde.
Hold on. Let me make sure this works the way I'm thinking. Okay. It doesn't. Hold on. Okay. All right. After I finish the question, I'm going to start the timer. You ready?
Can I have 8 seconds? Okay. P.O.P.
Can we phone a friend?
No. Everybody else has to stay muted. Peach.
Okay. Yes.
What was the name of the fast food establishment in Coming to America that was not McDonald's?
McDowell.
I'll accept it.
Yeah.
I'll accept it.
Thank you.
All right. All right. Nichelle. In the movie Friday, what was the name of the character that was played by Tommy Lester Jr.?
No idea.
Debo.
And I can see the movie, but I have.
You got dropped. Zara.
Oh God.
What was Steve Urkel's full name in Family Matters?
Oh, I heard of the show, but I've never watched it. I don't know.
Oh, Stephen Quincy Urkel. Zara, you got dropped. Shawn, it is your birthday, but you are not exempt. And you better get this one right. Shawn.
Okay.
Complete the lyric. She's blank, but I want you.
Say it one more time.
She's blank, but I want you.
She's fine too.
Shawn? It's 5'2", not fine 2.
She's 5'2"? Is it really 5'2"?
She's 5'2".
No, it's not. Stop playing.
I did not know that either.
She's 5'2". Ari. What movie is the famous line, "Bye, Felicia," from?
Friday? I don't fucking know. Oh, sorry. Just drop me.
You got it. You got it.
Oh, wow. Oh, my God.
You got it. Kobe. Who is known as the Godfather of Soul?
Oh my goodness. James Brown?
You got it. You also were supposed to be off mute already, and that's okay. Okay.
Sorry.
All right. Noah, go ahead and come off mute. Noah, which singer is known for her hit song "Shea Butter Baby"?
Ari Lennox.
Ooh, you got it. You got it. Swan.
Yes.
Who was the first Black woman artist? I'm sorry. What Black woman artist has won the most Grammys?
Beyonce.
You got it. All right. All right. All right. You all made it through round one. You all made it through round one. Shawn saying that it's fine. The actual answer says 5-2. Hold on. Let me officially look this up.
Somebody say Hillary Clinton in the chat.
Santana got a drop.
Not Santana getting dropped from his hometown.
Hold on one second.
Oh, snap. While we wait, I do want to acknowledge. No, go ahead, Cuddy.
I was just gonna say Santana's Black Court is on the line, but yeah, continue.
Listen, I'm just reading the Q&A as it's listed. Listen, hold on. I'm double checking the lyrics. Hold on. Can it be friends? I feel just something to dip up out of here. We just listen. The question was wrong. I see it. I see it. I see it. Shawn, I apologize. Get back up here. Get back up here. Good challenge. That's a good challenge. That's a good challenge. That is a legitimate good challenge.
I ain't gonna lie to you. When I looked it up, I thought I was cooked. I ain't gonna lie to you.
All right, all right, all right. We're moving on to the next round. All right. Peach, coming back to you.
This is racist.
Peach. And sorry. Which 1991 movie featured the character Ricky?
Boys in the Hood.
Ooh, good job, Peach. Good job, Peach. Good job, Peach.
You know what would have made that question a little bit better? If you would have said which 1991 after school special.
Okay. Ari.
Oh.
Ari.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
What is the real name of the rapper Future?
Oh, I don't know. He's a cheater. I don't pay attention to cheaters. Bye.
It's Nevadis Wilburn. That name is jacked. Ari, you're dropped. Kobe.
Yes.
What is the name of the... No, this is too easy for you. Which inventor called himself the Black Edison?
Oh my gosh, I'm blanking.
Garrett Morgan.
Well,
He invented
bye, folks.
the traffic stop. The traffic signal. All right. We're getting down to it. Noah. Who was the first Black woman to travel in space in 1992?
Oh, I don't have that.
Dr. Mae Jameson. I think it's Jameson. Jemison. Noah, your drop. All right. I don't want to ask this question because of the answer. There's a couple of questions I don't want to ask because like I don't like the answers in the sense of like,
which one are they like? Oh, go ahead.
Is who founded Bad Boys in a famous Black sitcom in the 80s?
Wait, hold up. Say it one more time.
Diddy and Cosby.
Who what?
Diddy and Cosby.
Well, no, I didn't hear the question all the way, but okay.
No, who founded Bad Boys? And then who?
Okay.
All right. Swan.
Yes.
Which of these is not a Black sitcom? The Proud Family, That's So Raven, The Sweet Life of Zach and Cody, Keenan and Kel.
The Sweet Life of Zach and Cody.
Okay. Shawn. Jada Pinkett Smith got her start on which sitcom? Fresh Prince, Cosby Show, Different World, Jamie Foxx Show.
I believe it was Different World.
That's correct. Peach, coming back to you.
This is racist. Also, you be starting a timer when you be asking a question.
No, I finished and then I hit the timer.
Oh. All right. I better get an easy question.
What does it say? Oh, I'm not directing anybody off the platform, whatever. Peach.
Yes.
Brian McKnight guest starred on what sitcom? Martin, All of Us, The Game, Girlfriends.
The Game.
Sorry, Peach. You're wrong. It was Martin.
Hi,
Your drop.
everybody.
And then there were two. Do-do, 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 do-do. Swan. Can you guess the name of the popular 1980s Black sitcom that aired for 8 long seasons on NBC? Oh, no, I don't. No. Sorry. Not going to do that one.
Okay.
Sorry. Okay. Swan.
Yes.
Which television network aired Hanging with Mr. Cooper? Was it Disney Network, ABC, the WB, or Nickelodeon?
Shit. The WB. Damn.
ABC. Swan.
Damn it.
You're dropped. I feel like it's apropos that you're up here still, Shawn.
Oh, T. Well,
just for shits and giggles, or shiggles, as I like to say. Let's see if you can get this one.
All right, let's see.
Ready? Hold on. Wait, where'd the question? Okay. Ellis Neal played the love interest of Dwayne Martin on what sitcom? All of Us, The Parenthood, The Hughleys, Between Brothers.
I think All of Us.
Every single answer is right. W's in the chat for Shawn. W's in the chat for Shawn. The redemption arc was dynamic.
I had to challenge. Hey, I'm telling you.
Had to throw a flag on the play.
I was like, wait, please. No, when I looked it up, I was like, have I been singing it wrong this whole time? When I looked it up, I thought I was cooked. I thought I was absolutely cooked. I was like, what? And that's the worst part, too, because if everybody who watched me, you know I love Lloyd.
That's why I said you better get it right.
Lloyd is my guy. Y'all know Lloyd is my guy. And I was like, have I been singing Lloyd wrong this whole time? Oh my God.
All right, Shawn. First and foremost, again, happy birthday. I'm happy that you actually won this. And guys, it was fair. It was fair. No foul play. Fair and square. Shawn, you get to do the closing. Floor is yours. Whatever you want to talk about. You got any initiatives, things that you want people to know? I don't care what it is. Floor is yours.
Yeah. So, well, I'm gonna get the plugs out the way. Hold on, I'm gonna check to see if I got any W's. Is that cool, real quick?
Yeah. Whatever you want.
We're good there. It's taking a while to load. Oh, come on. It logged me out. All right, we back in. Oh, we're good there. All right, cool. W to everyone who sent me a CA, or to anyone who sent me a VMO. W to Santana. W's in the chat. I appreciate all of y'all, everyone who came to game night on my Twitch. If you want to see me on any social media accounts, I've been doing Blue Sky a lot lately. So hit up my Blue Sky. All of the links to everything is in the link in my bio, the link tree in my bio. We're doing a Discord prom really soon. In my Discord, it's not a Discord prom. I'm gonna stream it on Twitch, but we're doing the theme and picking the theme and doing the invites and the promposals and all of that in my Discord. We just voted on which day it was going to be. I believe it's the second weekend of May that we're doing prom in the Discord. So join the Discord if you're not in the Discord. There is a questionnaire at the beginning. I find it best to just press and hold the Discord in my link tree and then open it up in a new link, because Discord has a weird way of doing links. But anyway, now that I got the pluggables out the way, told all my W's, I'm gonna say this. The Black diaspora, like when it comes to Black people, I love Black people. I love Black people with all my heart and soul. And anyone who knows me knows that I love Black people, all my heart and soul. And anti-Blackness harms our entire community, not just FBAs, not just if you're descended to slaves, not just you, not just the people in Africa, not just any Black person from any islands outside of the U.S. or in the West Indies. It harms literally all Black people, every last one of us, because the erasure of oppression that happens for Black people is something that when you erase, I want to highlight something that Ari had said earlier. in order to preface this. What Ari was talking about earlier was the thing that unites us as Black people, and how we know that we're Black is because of the racial oppression that we face. And most, if not all, of our customs, even though they're not all the same, but most, if not all, of our customs that we have for Black people and what creates our culture is either shaped by or created by, is either affected by or created by white supremacy. And the things that we have picked up, the cultural practices, the food that we eat, the dances that we do, obviously the music that we play because of the dances that we do, the religions that we have, the clothes that we wear, the way that we walk, the way that we laugh. Black people, when Black people run, I have a friend. I make fun of him all the time. Y'all know him. Live to be great. He teaches people this all the time, where he says that one of the reasons why Black people run when we laugh, especially descendants of American slaves, we run when we laugh, is because in certain places in the United States, it was illegal for Black people to show joy in public. That's a real thing. And so if we had to laugh, we had to run to what was called a laughing barrel. And we had to put our face inside the barrel whilst we laugh. So if we were laughing out in the open, we had to run immediately to put our faces in the laughing barrel so we would not show Black joy, because it was literally illegal. And today I still know niggas that run when they laugh. The generational trauma is real. And for the diaspora, it is real. For people in Africa who have been imperialized, for people in Africa who have been colonized, the neocolonialism that has happened and the shaping of the cultures that happen simply because we are Black is real. And when you say niggas don't go through the things that we go through by saying that they're not Black enough, you are literally erasing the fucking culture, bro. Mm-hmm. I love Black people with all my heart and soul. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to get together a group of Black people. So hit me up. A group of especially Akata Black people. Akata Black people being descendants of American slaves. I am nothing but a descendant of American slaves. Both my mother and my father's side come from farms in Virginia, 2 separate farms in Virginia. Both of my heritages stop. My mother's heritage, well, not really stops, but is erased past 1719 for my mother's and 1692 for my father's. That is when we were sent to a plantation in Virginia for my father's side, and when we were sent to a plantation in Virginia on my mother's side. That is my heritage, and I know that front and back. I love it so very much, and I dive deep into my culture as much as I possibly can to know exactly what it is for me as a person in like a Black person, a descendant of slaves in Appalachia or from Appalachia, living in Washington, D.C. today, and the customs that I have versus the customs that people have who live in New Orleans and are from a farm in Florida and another farm in Louisiana or from California, who moved to California after their folks got ran out of North Carolina, or whatever it is that your heritage is as a descendant of American slaves. That's I love that shit so fucking much, but I will not forget, and I will not allow you to forget our Black girls, gays, and theys from other areas of the diaspora or from the motherland of Africa. I will not allow for you to erase the oppression that they went through. I will not allow for you to pretend as if their cultures are less than simply because they're from somewhere else. I've said this before out loud. I've said that when it comes to the United States and the way the United States is structured, it is oftentimes that Black immigrants, when they come to the United States, have more resources than descendants of American slaves who have lived in the United States our entire lives. And one of the reasons as to why is because of the finances. Anyone who's a descendant of American slaves knows somebody who was 4 years old but had something in their name, a car, a house, something in their name, and messed their credit up from a very, very young age because they wouldn't give Black people loans. And so your parents ran up their credit and their credit scores were messed up, or that person's parents ran up their credit scores were messed up, but they just had a kid, and that kid ain't had no credit score, so it was super duper easy for them to get a house, get a car, get whatever else it is, and run that bill up on them. And it was super duper easy for that person to grow up and have a really bad credit score and do it to their kid. The cycle continues. I'm not going to erase any of that. I'm not going to erase any of that. But what I'm not going to do is allow you to forget that when it came down to who was black enough in places like Rwanda, they absolutely did put the Hutus at the lowest end, and that Hutus don't have certain customs and practices simply because they are blacker, at least what white people believe were blacker than other black people. And the neocolonialism that happened in Rwanda to people like Hutus, I will not let you forget that. I will not let you forget that uprising was a result of a reaction to racism. And I will not let you forget that black people are enslaved today for no reason other than they're black. I will not let you forget that. Just because we went through some shit doesn't mean nobody else did too. That's all I got. I appreciate y'all. Thank you, Santana, for having me up. This conversation goes, I'm going to say it, too deep. It goes too deep. I'll say it one time. It goes too deep. No pause. Yes, Dan Trail. That's what I'm going to start saying. No pause. Yes, Dan Trail. If y'all know Dan Trail, you know what I'm talking about. Hey, somebody send this to Dan Trail. Hey, no pause. Yes, renowned artist Dan Trail Bonet Boone. Anyway, I'ma just don't put your hand in, don't put your face in your hand. Don't put your face, get that face out that hand. Get that face out that hand. Mm-hmm. That's what, yeah. That's what I said. Uh-huh. Thank y'all so much for blessing me for my birthday. Whatever it is that you like or whatever. I appreciate you. I hope y'all had a great day. Y'all really did stuff for me today. Y'all are absolutely amazing. I'm gonna be celebrating my birthday all week pretty much. So I really appreciate y'all. I'll appreciate it if y'all mess with me this week. Just say happy birthday, tell me to twerk, tell me to do whatever, blah, blah, blah. I'm really out here really trying to push forward this revolution and this Black liberation. I want that by any means necessary. And I do not believe in any concessions to be made towards anyone else that is outside of Black liberation. Thank you so much, Santana, for having me on your panel.
I got one thing for you before you go. For you, for the people that didn't get to join the conversation this evening, for everyone. So like I said, we're going to do this tomorrow. We're going to finish this tomorrow. But it may be worth coming back because not too long ago, we had a FBA woman over on YouTube trying to join the panel and she couldn't figure it out. But something tells me she'll be back tomorrow and maybe with more.
Ooh, okay. The FBA stuff really, really hits me hard because for me, there was FBA is push and pull for me because, like I said, I'm what they consider foundational Black American. I am nothing but a descendant of American slaves. I have no heritage outside the United States other than where we came from in Africa to be shipped over here to be sold into chattel slavery. When it came down to certain people on this app that I used to mess with, matter of fact, I'm gonna just drop some names. When it came down to a person who I considered a friend, his name was ACAB Devil. I don't know if y'all know who ACAB Devil was. But before the FBA conversation really got big, ACAB Devil was really big into like socialist theory and talking about the revolution amongst Black people and talking about the diaspora and talking about Afro-Marxism in particular. And he was a real cool dude, but somewhere around 2022, like the middle of 2022, something just changed. And he went to being like an FBA, just like dude. Like he was just talking about immigrants this and we shouldn't do this for that and we shouldn't do anything for Native American. We actually have to talk about the erasure of the harm done to indigenous people of the United States, especially by AAs. That is something that I haven't seen a lot of people talk about, and that's something that I really want to touch on. But
we have to talk about that tomorrow. Like we have to. Like that's super important. Like that, we absolutely have to talk about that tomorrow.
What Joanna, yes, thank you. What Joanna asked was he Ranger too? No, he wasn't. He was not a Black Hebrew Israelite. He was not like he wasn't in the Nation of Islam. He wasn't anything like that. He was a Black Marxist and somehow just ended up moving towards the FBA shit because he got a hold in his head that Black people want reparations. This is something that draws people to FBA. A lot of the things that draw Black people, especially descendants of American slaves, to being FBA or being the group ADOS, is their hunt for a group that advocates for reparations for Black Americans, Black descendants of American slaves. Yeah. And so they find these groups, they find FBA, they find ADOS, and they follow these groups because these groups say things. Essentially, if y'all don't know what sophistry is when a person says a whole bunch of nonsense, but they might throw in a little bit of half-truths in there. Mm-hmm. They might throw in a little bit of jargon in there. They sound smart, they sound good, but you know they're smarter than you. And so they sound appealing. Mm-hmm. When you look into it, it's absolutely nothing. It's garbage. They're not saying anything. But this is called sophistry. He fell for the traps of these sophists, and they got him. They just got him. And this is what happens with most FBAs. This is what happened with most people who joined the group ADOS, is that they're looking for groups who are advocating for Black people to get reparations. And they find these people who say all of this jargon and say all of these things, and they just get mesmerized by it because it's appealing. It's appealing. And they're saying all of these things and sounding smart whilst they're saying, you deserve reparations. You deserve millions of dollars. You deserve X. You deserve Y. You deserve Z. You deserve land. Like they're saying these things. And so they fall into these groups and they will defend these groups fervently without looking into anything because they know that these groups are fighting for the things that they want, like reparations. And I do think that the biggest combatant of these groups is to talk about reparations and to talk about what reparations looks like and to talk about how to exactly fight for reparations. Because I am of the opinion that there will be no reparations for Black people, whether we be descendants of American slaves in the diaspora outside of the U.S., whether it be Canada, Mexico, Virgin Isles, the West Indies, wherever it is that we are, or in Africa, there will be no reparations for Black people under capitalism, period. It cannot happen. It cannot happen. The primitive accumulation for capitalism was Black people. If you give Black people the reparations for being the primitive accumulation, what you do is you dismantle capitalism.
Hey, is that why
I know
Black
I said
Republicans voted for Trump because they wanted another stimmy? Is that what you're saying?
A lot of Black, honest to God, a lot of
like
Black
sophistry.
Americans voted for Trump. A lot of Black Americans voted for Trump because they thought they would get another stimulus check.
That sounds like sophistry.
It 100% is.
Yeah. Anyway, I appreciate you, Shawn.
I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for allowing me to just get up here and be on the soapbox for real.
Absolutely. Anytime, every time, especially on your birthday. Happy birthday again.
Thank you.
All right, guys. It has been a night. It's been a night. What did you guys think about that game? Like, what did you think? That I see like Swan is still here. I see Noah's still here. Like, how do you guys feel? Loved it? Okay, cool. I felt like I felt like it might have been some. I went back and looked at the chat, and the chat was so mad at people that didn't know the answers. Oh, they were so mad. If you guys didn't know the answer, they were so mad at you guys. They were so mad if you didn't have the answers. It's so funny. Is this real? Athena? One second. But I'm sorry, guys. Yeah, sorry. I don't want to press play on this because everyone will hear it. One second. Wow. Okay. So apparently, and it's in the speech, breaking the Iraqi armed forces and the Iraqi Council of National Security has given the Popular Mobilization Force full authority to respond and to retaliate against any U.S. and Israel attacks, effectively giving them the green light to enter the war formally. And this was after the Iraqi has summoned the U.S. acting ambassador over the U.S. strikes on PMF. So it looks like Iraqi armed forces are fully joining the war against the U.S. with Iran. Yeah. So that's big, and a shift in escalation from what Donald Trump was just talking about today. Apparently they just, here. Yeah, they just gave a speech and officially aligned and moved into mobilization. Yeah. I will keep my eye out on it. I'm positive that more is going to be happening throughout the night for us. And I'm sure I'll be talking about it in the morning. But it looks like, yeah, Iraq is formally aligned with Iran, and they are getting ready to go full tilt against the U.S. and Israel. So there's that. Interesting. Yeah, you know what? I actually had that K to talk about, and I'll just go ahead and it makes even more sense. I'll just say this really quick. Then you guys know how when I'm sparring and I try to make sure I have like something to talk about in between if there's no ops, and just so it's like not a lot of dead air. So I usually like read different news articles and have things lined up. And so one thing, and this makes even more sense now, but there's a New York Times piece that I was going to talk about in the morning, but I'll just mention it now since we're already here. The United States they're sending 2,000 U.S. paratroopers to the Middle East. And the Pentagon ordered about 2,000 soldiers from the Army 82nd Airborne Division to begin moving to the Middle East to give President Trump additional military options, even as he weighs new diplomatic incentives with Iran. Two Defense Department's official says the combat forces will come from the division intermediate response force, a brigade, about 3,000 soldiers capable of deploying anywhere in the world within 18 hours. The contingent includes Major General Brandon T. Tigmar, which is the division commander, and half a dozen of his staff members, as well as 2 battalions with each about 800 soldiers. And says the officials who spoke with the conditions anonymously to discuss the operation matters. More than the brigade soldiers could be sent in the coming days, the official said, taken together with about 4,500 Marines already en route to the region. The deployment of the elite Army force brings the total number of additional ground troops dispatched to the war zone since the conflict started to nearly 7,000, and it marks a new escalation in conflicts. And now that's on top of the 50,000 troops that were already in the area. So 2,000 paratroopers, 4,500 Marines, 50,000 soldiers. Iraq is officially aligned with Iran. Yeah. So sorry to like kind of bring down the mood and take a shift, but like I just got that and yeah, share with you. Anyway, those are tomorrow's problems. Let's focus on right now. We're going to wrap it up. We'll be back tomorrow. I'll be back in the morning for some sparring. We'll be back tomorrow in the evening for some late nights. We will continue to dive into this topic. It was a lot of fun. I had a great time. And now we hit the outro.
Yeah, this ain't your regular panel. Nah, we speak the truth. Late nights with Santana and Mama Jones watching. Better keep it clean. Let's go! Late nights, truth in the convo. Everybody get a seat at the table. From the block to the books, we mindful. No screaming, just dreams and the Bible. One mic, one voice, we build bridges from the heart of the hood to the world's big issues. Politics, pay, different cultures. But the real ones listen before they rebuttal. Late nights with Santana. Yeah, Mama Jones watching, so keep it grown. Ain't about flexing, this a purpose zone. Santana hold it steady when it might get hot. But we ain't here to fight, we here to connect the dots. Yeah, late nights with Santana.
Hey guys, it was a good one. I think this was a very necessary conversation, and not only a necessary conversation, but one that we have to finish. And so I'm super excited to get back in it tomorrow. I appreciate everyone hanging out this evening, especially the people that actually, show Shawn a ton of love on her birthday. So it was a lot of fun. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. I do. We'll be back tomorrow. Thank you all. Thank you for all the gifts, the taps, the likes, the shares. Thank you all for hanging out. Thank you all for being amazing. I love you all, and as always, peace.